Welcome, 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 one and all, yet again, everybody, to another episode of WIC TV. It's a cross ideological space where we come together to talk about issues, both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And, gang, we've got a lot going on in the world, I know, right? Lots happening at a breakneck pace, but we always have some time for some culture war slop, okay? We always have some time for this. Okay. If you guys missed it, Saturday we had an excellent discussion about the Venezuela strikes. You should go look at that. We got some stuff on the Somalia fraud coming up. But today we're going to be talking about, has feminism and women ruined gaming? Asmongold recently has claimed that they have. Ahrelevant disagrees. SinglePlayerCarl, however, wants to come in and back up Asmongold and what he says. So we're going to have a little discussion about it, a little debate about it. And thank you all for being here. Really appreciate you. We're going to give the mic first to SinglePlayerCarl. Give us what you got, sir, and then we'll get on with it, okay? Here you go.
Hey, I'm Carl. My base is here today is that I don't inherently believe that Ahrelevant's position as he posted from the viral clip from Yeet 20K or the ones that are being circulated around as LSF truly tells the actual position, quote, that women or feminists haven't ruined gaming, because I don't believe it's approaching reality for somebody who actually plays and streams video games regularly as a part of how they make their money, especially if they do one part politics and one part gaming, and that it's an Asmongold related case of social contagion for attention, because they disagree with Asmongold, therefore anything he says must be wrong, even if there is some level of truth or an entire truth that is reflected by the industry itself, coming from actual industry professionals that know this for a fact and have the sites and the graphs to back it up, whether it be from Solinum, whether it be from the business industry itself looking in on itself, or even Circana numbers. I don't believe that it's all women. I don't believe that it's all men. I don't believe it's all transgenders, but there is a very obvious and very well-known group and archetype of public-facing creators and attention-seeking political activists that go out of their way to seek fame in a way that has eroded the high social trust that used to exist a quarter of a century ago, leading to current year today, that are responsible for the occupations of businesses and spaces and development cycles, to the point that people have learned to defend themselves from these types of users, the type of all-consuming dominating rhetoric, and ultimately to the point that denying the existence of this is tantamount to exposing oneself as not being from these spaces and unaware of the actual culture and how it develops, either because they, quote, are elitist towards people who are elitist towards other people who tone police them about how they enjoy games, or ultimately participate in the player base, but they're not actually of the community because they're off by themselves, because they conflate the difference between playing single-player games to actually being a part of an online community that speaks to each other, as that's how most of us get our fame. Attention economy. It's my goal to find common ground with Ahrelevant and establish that these common cases and occurrences are coming from the middle ground, not from any side of any extreme, and ask him why he particularly overreacts to Asmongold's takes, Zachary's takes, and try to apply this as a broad stroke to everyone in the sphere, and see whether or not the conversation can develop from there.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. Really excited to have you, and I guess we'll get into it as we go. Ahrelevant, tell people who you are, what you do, why we should listen to you, and what are your thoughts. Go ahead.
I'm irrelevant. I typically talk about politics and like social commentary, but also I play a disgusting amount of video games. So I feel pretty qualified to talk about especially modern video games and stuff like that, how they've changed recently. And yeah, yes, the Asmongold clip upset me because this is a dude who plays like one video game trying to say that the entire modern landscape for video games is like tarnished when he doesn't play modern video games. Like he just doesn't do that. 80% of the good games that come out today, he just literally does not play them. He sits there, maybe he'll play some WoW, but he'll primarily do social commentary or reaction videos. Like if you or a person who plays modern video games, you know that the landscape is actually very, very, very good for modern video games. But yeah.
Okay, we'll get into it. I guess what do you mean by modern video games would be my first question. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, so the idea is with the prompt and stuff like that is that feminism or women have ruined gaming. And this idea would create a present tense that video games are now like worse or in severely lower condition than what they used to be. And it's just not the case. We have like damn near a golden age when it comes to indie video games and stuff like this. You could talk about the degradation of like AAA titles kind of looping in on themselves, but you would primarily look at the catalyst for this being actually more male dominated games. Things like fucking FIFA 39 for the 50 billionth time being the exact same game, kind of manifesting from there, and not like, Mega Bonk and all these different games that like kind of went hyper viral for a good bit of time and are very good games. We're having a surge of very, very, very good video games in the current day. I see no evidence that gaming is getting worse, and especially to do with feminism or women.
Okay, Carl, I assume you disagree. What's your argument here?
Because the thing that he's trying to address is the idea of all video games as a contingency when it's two things together. The games what we're playing, well, actually, no, three things. The games that we're playing, the people who are playing them, and the space and the occupancy upon those people who collected themselves as both a player base and a community that interact with the games. So, to counter what he says, if I were to ask him something about Balatro or Expedition 33 this year or last year, I would have to ask him, is that a modern game or is that a non-modern game? Because they're new games, but they speak to the kind of loop that would exist inside of Exile 1 and Exile 2. I know that he plays Exile 1 and Exile 2. One of the clips that comes from his view, not the clip itself that was clipped onto the timeline, but the actual view that was on his kick, that is discoverable nowhere else on his YouTube and nowhere on his Twitter or his Twitch, was specifically the session in the clip where Asmongold, when Zachary was referring back to the attempt to browbeat him about the elitism of who are you to talk about this from playing an MMORPG, when Steven plays nothing but autism simulators like Satisfactory, that it is browbeating people because the type of game that they play, they don't consider to be real gaming. Or in the example of what Ahrelevant says, that if they only play one game, they don't play real games. These would be examples of AA or indie games that very much in the viewpoint of the current political zeitgeist when it comes to the sphere of influencing video games for development, there is a hatred of the AAA scene or even the 4X scene of these indies because they are able to take people's lunches for millions of dollars with a game that only costs $15 versus something that's supposed to be a playable master experience of a type of story experience that you could get from something like, say, Dad of War and Dad of War Ragnarok, a remake created with the help of supposed DEI companies that are just script doctrine companies.
Just to short circuit a little bit, right? Just to short circuit a little bit and maybe get a little more direct.
Yes.
Can you point to the games that have been ruined by women?
Phantasy Star Online 2, and pretty much anything that ever goes terminally viral, like Arc Raiders, although I would say it's not women.
Okay, well, let's stick with Arc Raiders. This one, the more...
Arc Raiders?
Yeah, how
you think
Raiders.
Arc Raiders is ruined? Isn't that like a doesn't Asmongold literally himself like Arc Raiders?
Well, as I said before, it's not just about women and feminists, it's about a particular kind of person, men and women too, that go out of their way that instead of actually enjoying games, they treat them as a zeitgeist, where they insert their viewpoints and their opinions and how they think things should be done into the conversation and in the spaces of how people should play the games. And ultimately, it becomes a culture clash between people who are there for a thing that appeals to them versus what people say, this is what the genre's always been. This is how it's meant to be done. That then ultimately push people out of it. This was drama that actually came up from the Streamer Awards, featuring people like Burnt Peanut, because him, Hutchinson, Courage, Nadeshot, Ninja...
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just lost on this. What does this have to do with women or feminism?
Well, if you listen and don't interrupt me, you'll find out. They go out of their way, and I just said what it was. Not just women, not just men, not just transgenders, and not specifically them, but a certain type of person who injects their viewpoints, injects their vision of culture, injects their idea of how they approach things, and they specifically push down on the people who would be coming in, that people would call tourists. And they project this view that this is how it is done. This is, quote, how we've always done it. Sometimes from the people that belong there, that you could call Neanderthals, losers, that play nothing but one game, that they think this should appeal to only them, and therefore they're unwilling to experience the actual broad view of games, as you said in your clip from your channel. That they refuse to experience it. Yes.
Okay.
Not talking about Wick. That they refuse to experience an absolute broad of games that they could enjoy that they don't enjoy, despite the fact that they're playing all of these kinds of games on camera. That it's a social problem. It's not just the industry, it's not just the people playing them, it's the actual conversation that's going on, or as people like to meme about the left-wing diatribe about this, the way that they have the conversation about it. People are not getting the problem because they are looking for a boogeyman to blame the issue on, and actually, instead of actually talking about who's directly responsible. And if any person says anything that's out of lines of what is meant to be the diatribe from what is considered the cathedral, left, right, dead of center, or the extremes, which in this case we're describing the extremes, the dude bros, or the supposed crazy blue-haired feminists, that why should anybody listen to them? Just play what you want. Which I pose the question is, why should anybody listen to you? It doesn't sound like you actually experience this in any serious way, because most of the things you talk about are single player. You're not experiencing the multiplayer aspect, because even if you do play those games, you're not playing them on camera. You haven't played them on stream in years, with the exception of Path of Exile during the free weekend for Last of the Druids 4.0.
Are you talking about me?
Yes, I am talking about you.
Yeah, I don't play games on stream. I just said I was a political content creator. I play video games off stream. Do you want me to send you my Steam profile where I have over 30,000 hours on Steam alone in various games?
I mean,
like, if you want to do a rap sheet, we could do a rap sheet. I didn't know that you were gonna like run my Steam profile numbers and talk about me only playing PoE during a free weekend. I mean, yeah, I love the game and I shout it out to everybody. I've been getting my roommates to try and play it because it's a phenomenal game. But I'm waiting to hear how it got ruined by women.
The general sphere of gaming, to the point where people are starting to be a part of enclaves, where if they don't have lockstep opinions, they then shit on other people because they don't think how they think, both left, right, and in a center. That it's the job, and yes, again, I'm going to bring you back to this, not just feminism, not just women, but annoying men doing it, annoying transgenders doing it, all kinds of people doing it. That it is in there.
So you're trying to say enclaves, like groups infighting, like picking sides, is what is like was being caused by like women or feminism in video games, like elitism and tribalism in games?
Yeah, especially if we're going to go back to the actual source where it started.
Okay, so you believe that there wasn't tribalism amongst the gaming community before women by and large got into gaming?
No, I think the tribalism got worse when people started using politics as a dividing line and as a purity spiral mechanism to say whether or not they deserve to have an opinion or not, like what you said in your VOD.
Wait, I generally would agree that... Oh, my bad. Oh, shit.
Bro, your whole screen.
I feel like I just got naked, bro. I feel like I just got exposed. But...
I hope so.
But, come on. But no, for like purity testing and stuff like that, yeah, I'll agree that since it got politicized, it's gotten like worse. But that wasn't just like feminists who did that. Like the conservative reactionary right decided to politicize these issues where it really was not that big of a deal by talking about things like this, that it's ruining gaming. Like, I've seen no evidence for it ruining gaming. Back to what Wick asked, like, how is Arc Raiders ruined? Like, you have mainstay, like, I literally think we can find clips of Asmon himself, the dude who is the reason we're having this conversation, saying Arc Raiders is a phenomenal game. So...
Well, if you stop interrupting people and let them finish thought, you'd find out. But no, I don't think it's just the reactionary right. I said everybody did it. Everyone did it, Ahrelevant. The feminists did it, the feminists did it, the chuds did it, people in the middle did it, everybody did it, and it started making it into a place where nobody can have a conversation about anything, because the second that somebody said, this is what I like, somebody jumped down their throat to the equivalent of, so you said you don't like bananas? Nigga, I said I like apples. What are you talking about? At no place did I say I didn't like bananas. Replace apples and bananas with whatever genre you want versus what people would think is the masculine version or the feminine version of what should appeal to demographics, and that's the entire caucasity of it. It is basically multiple circles of interest. 1 second. It is multiple circuits of interest that all collectively together decided to make a culture war that then responded with people ignoring the people in the middle. It's like, bro, I don't give a fuck about any of this. I'm having a billion cakes I can eat. And in the case of Arc Raiders was not ruined by, quote, feminism, although technically these people are politically correct to begin with. And part of that has to do with the scene being fucked up where people decided to pick money over culture. So most things started getting sanitized thanks to Twitch. The problem there is that you had people that went in for a group experience that everybody could be able to play whatever way they want, which for people who have not played Arc Raiders, is equivalently a separation of old school RuneScape's Deep Wilderness Past 30. You are playing what is meant to be an extraction shooter, but unfortunately after the Hutchinson slash Bungalator raids, after the Hutchinson/Bungalator raids and the entire culture that was discussed on TikTok, the never-ending back and forth about who's a real player, how to really play the game, what is a right way to play the game and a wrong way to play the game has now turned into actually just another battle royale. Because instead of actually doing what even the developers envisioned was the goal of the game, to have a player versus environment versus player game where you have...
This is something we can kind of dig into.
Yeah,
I know what you're referring to, but just for the audience's sake, there was a popular streamer or commentarist, a woman, basically, who said that she's going to stop playing Arc Raiders because it's too PvP focused and things like that. Is that what you're referring to?
I mean, plenty. Men, women in general. They got turned off the game because the game turned into something that it wasn't supposed to, that it technically wasn't ventured to be by the developers. That by the contagion and the culture of the people who came in to experience it, turned it into something that was like everything else. A game that had features of an extraction shooter ended up becoming the sweatiest lobby imaginable, equivalent to Tarkov, because it benefited them to turn it into something, a part of the culture war, that it wasn't. And now people have turned themselves off of it and have become disinterested. It happens to plenty of different games down the sphere of influence. Plenty of MMOs have experienced this. Plenty of single-player games have experienced this. Although the single-player game experience should be directly affected by that, because no one can gatekeep you from single-player games. But the multiplayer aspect and the conversations around the multiplayer aspect, people actually going from being a part of the player base to actually becoming a part of the community, people who don't want to actually get into the community, become a part of the community, become a creator for the community. They decide to yuck people's yums. Let me finish. They decide to yuck people's yums.
Talking a lot.
Let me finish.
Talking a lot.
You keep interrupting me, and I keep having to explain things. Just be quiet. Give me a second. I'm gonna finish, and then you can talk.
Go ahead.
They get into it for something other than just experiencing the game, having fun with the game, playing the game for what it is, and make it into something entirely fucking different, and ruin it for everyone. To the point where people are like, stay out of my games, we don't want you here. You're not actually here to be a part of this, you're here to try and get viral and get clips off this. Which leads to people basically creating their own circles and enclaves where they purity test each other constantly. I think it's fucking cringe and gay, because you should be able to have fun playing the games you want to play. But people are refusing to address that, because they instead want to point the finger at somebody and say, no, it's not the girl who caused this. No, actually, it's this who caused this. No, actually, it's Hutch who caused this. No, it's actually this guy who caused it. Instead of just saying, bro, play the game and have fucking fun. Okay. Why are you so mad?
Okay.
Now I'm done.
Cool. Relevant? Okay. Where do you want to go with this?
So is your argument that purity testing video games is bad, and that you decided to take this
obviously
as one So one aspect of this is that you view women and feminists as also purity testing video games? Is that your argument?
Yeah, because everyone's purity testing. Just like you said, you would purity test people. Quote, I'm going to be elitist about people being elitist about video games.
Yeah, absolutely. I always do that because that's stupid. So it sounds like then I don't know why, if you watch that, you wouldn't agree with me. Because my point is that any person who plays a bunch of video games and thinks they can dictate how other people enjoy video games is fucking stupid. And I'm absolutely going to waive my hours in video games, my roster of video games against them to be able to make an argument that, especially if they play one video game, that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So yeah, of course I'll do that. But yeah, in general, people should just play video games and enjoy it as it is. What is wrong with that statement?
Because you then went back on yourself and effectively did the exact same thing that you're criticizing. Thus becoming a part of the discourse of people having the wrong way of discussing it and having the wrong way of the conversation. Because this exact tone policing was the basis behind Asmon Gold's rebuttal to what Steven said. The entire clip.
So just to be clear, you disagree with Asmon Gold?
Yes, I've always disagreed with Asmon Gold. I presented that as the case in my opening statement that I disagree with Asmon Gold. Just like I disagree with you and with Steven. Because it's all elitism. Well, somehow it becomes better and more important when you do it and nobody else can do it But you're more of an authority because you're ours. But I could do the same thing to you.
Just real quick, I was under the impression that you believed that at least a certain segment of women and
there's a certain segment there is
have ruined video games, and that you were here to argue that they were ruining video games, and you were going to put forth an argument of why that's true.
Yes.
Is that an accurate representation?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
can we get to that argument?
Yes. Because if you only ever look in the sphere in what he's talking about, then you're going to miss the forest for the trees. There's entire businesses that have gone under. You could look at any of the games that are currently under the ownership. Yes.
Let's pick one. Pick a business and we can talk about it.
Compulsion Games.
Okay. Why did women and feminists cause Compulsion Games to go under, please?
Because they decided that it was more important to try to tell a narrative and a story about something, and actually instead of making a base level game that could be able to have good gameplay, good story, good art, good music, and instead intended to pander to a particular viewpoint, because they considered that this viewpoint of a 50-50 paradigm, or even some level of paradigm to pander to a particular group that they believed was a part of the modern audience that wasn't being presented to, needed to specifically go after this particular dialectic that they decided to view for. And because of it, the game ended up being bad, because it had bad direction, it had bad design, it had bad implementation, and even if you could be able to divine a story out of what they wrote, they ended up writing a story that felt more like they were taking and picking pieces of puzzles of people's cultures and identities while not understanding them, getting them wrong, and attempting to tell you that you should buy this because, look, it relates to you. You have people with your complexion on it. You must buy this. It's an experience everybody has to go to. South of Midnight.
Sorry, what?
South of Midnight.
South of Midnight? Isn't that new game?
Yes, Compulsion Games, South of Midnight.
Okay. So because I've heard this argument a lot, because you said that like they're trying to appeal to like a specific group. Can you just give me what you believe is the evidence to show that they did not care about any of these gameplay things, and it's not just that they made a bad game? Because the argument that I hear so consistently is, oh, they focused on DI or woke or whatever stuff, and then you have not played it.
I have played it. Have you played it?
Oh, no, I haven't played this game.
Then why the fuck are you talking?
I'm asking you a question.
Go ahead, finish your question.
About it. Okay, God, chill. Okay, how do you know, where's your evidence to show that they did not care about gameplay? They did not care about story or art direction or any of these different things. And it's not just that the thing that they were going for, they shot for and missed. They just didn't make a good game. Because your argument is that they didn't care about gameplay and they just cared about pushing an agenda or a narrative. Where's the evidence of that? And
in
not
the
just
gameplay, in the development, in the conversations.
Okay, what part of the development?
The voice acting, the level design, the actual construction of the narrative of the game and its story arc, the writing.
Okay, where's the proof that they just went for woke and any evidence? Like, did devs go out and so did it?
Yes.
Okay, you're saying yes. What was the question I was asking you?
You just asked me where's the evidence to do so. Where's the evidence to prove it?
And how is yes a response to that?
Do you have evidence? Yes.
Okay, where is your
question
evidence?
Would be, where is it? My follow-up evidence is Black Voices in Gaming, Summer Games Fest 2025.
And
did you not watch it?
What's the evidence from there? No.
So my first question.
Actually, I did watch Summer's Game Fest, but I did.
Okay, so you know. Wait a minute. So you watched what I'm talking about, right? You saw that panel.
Announcement for the game.
You watched the announcement for the game. Did you watch the Black Gaming Voices interview that they had on the Black Gaming Voices section? That was a part of Summer Games Fest this year. So you are not aware about what I'm about to tell you.
I don't know. Tell me.
So, no, you're not aware of what I'm about to tell you. I'll tell you.
I'm okay.
They interviewed the designers and the story writers for the game, and they explicitly said from that interview that was a part of that presentation that they focused specifically on trying to write stories about African American folklore without actually doing proper insert details and research on that folklore to make it right and make it accurate, to make it fit the tone of what they were designing. They just took from different cultures, and they slammed them all together with no coherent knowledge of anything whatsoever, which then ultimately led to them, when the main voice actor was then replaced by compulsion, that they didn't try to make anything fit tonally with what they were going for, and ended up with a bad game as a design flaw of their focus to specifically put black people first and not actually do anything at all to make a worthwhile design with an actual vision focus. This is something that people were very vehement about, including renowned game journalists like Colin Moriarty of Six Symbols Plus.
Okay, so 2 quick questions off of that. One, you're saying that they admitted that they did no research.
I didn't say they didn't admit to doing no research. I said they did improper research.
Okay, where's your evidence of that?
The interview. Should I pull up the VOD for you so you can watch the interview?
What did they know? I'll believe you. In the interview, what did they say?
I just told you.
Say that they did no research.
I didn't say they did no research. I said they did very little research to properly flesh it out.
Where are you getting that?
From the interview. From the folklore, from studying.
Language
no,
here?
you're not speaking another language. I am.
What in the
interview? Let me ask. Hold on. Let me try to translate. Translate. Okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Carl, but you're saying that there's a portion of that interview in which they stated something that led you to believe that they had improperly done their research on the topics that you're talking about. Can you provide a quote, a paraphrase, or even a link to the timestamp, right, that we could just look at? That would be helpful. Yes.
Because along with it, it comes with playing the game and actually knowing about the cultures that they were pulling from.
Okay.
They actively.
Show us what you got.
One second.
Take your time. Gang, if you're liking this content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button while you're waiting for him, and throw me some bits and subs. And if you got questions for either of these gentlemen, you can super chat them, and I will ask them to answer your questions. Okay, as we go. So thank you for that. I think that while we wait for him to find the clip, would you not say, Ahrelevant, this is to you, would you not say that certain game development companies have absolutely pandered to more kind of feminist ideals, and that has driven people away or caused games to go in directions that would be less appealing to men in general?
Yeah, of course. You could point to examples like, I think Concord was an example where a lot of people were like, what the fuck is going on with a lot of the shit? There was, not the wide variety of characters was very, very, very wide in its variety of characters, for sure. And so, I think there are examples of this, but I don't think that the representation is that these developers first and only care about woke and DEI, and they don't care about gameplay or making a product that can sell. I think the primary idea is that they genuinely believe these things can sell, and they just don't realize that there isn't like a crazy market for these things, that these are not the types of people that are going to buy these games. And moreover, that isn't ruining gaming. Like, because we got Concord that has like a wider variety of people that like a lot of people are going to be turned off by, that's not ruining gaming. We have fantastic games being put out all the time. And also there's games that target primarily women that are fantastic. Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley are genuinely like near objectively great games. But it's just not particularly targeted towards men, even though they're good.
Timestamps in your DMs.
Okay, give me a second. Let me put my drink away.
Because my response to that is that it's very obviously the case that you can have games that appeal to all people without having to necessarily pander to one audience or another. But it's the case that there are people that go out of their way in the gaming industry to attempt to smother over AA and indie titles that are able to do this without having to particularly use these types of narratives and attempt to use some type of political proselytization as a replacement for just doing proper research. That it's expected that because it is something that is doing something different or doing something that has itself a niche that can succeed well if done correctly, that it is not the case that they have not gone out of the way to do so, since it is quite literally the result of why companies have recently gone over or under.
Let's check this out. You said you give me the timestamp And
Yes, it starts at the beginning of the interview.
okay, and then we'll just go through and let me know when we've gotten to the point where your point has been made. Let's see.
It's cool. It's cool. I love getting a chance to see that trailer over and over again. I can never get enough of it. I can never get enough of it. Des, what did you think?
Honestly, the first time I saw that trailer, I was super excited, but it reminded me of this movie that I saw a really long time ago called Beasts of the Southern Wild, which like features like this little girl, and she's going on this journey, right, to like, and it's like a coming of age, like with her and her father, and it just kind of, I felt like, okay, the people who are making this game definitely saw that movie and definitely got inspiration from it. And it was beautiful. Like, I think it won like Academy Awards and things like that. So I love what you've done with the trailer and with the game, because it really does speak to a place that no game has ever really done well before.
Yeah. I'm really excited to be digging into the trailer, digging into some of these references that you mentioned, Des, which is why this is going to be a really good segue into our next into our exciting guest that we have for the showcase today. That is Zaire Lanier from Compulsion Games. Zaire, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Yeah. I pin that reference first before we dig into some of the details in talking about this exciting game, South of Midnight. Can you introduce yourself and give a little bit of clarity as to your role at Compulsion?
Yeah, I'm Zaire Lanier. I'm a game writer, narrative designer. I've been working in games since 2020, and I was one of the writers on South of Midnight. And I guess that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today.
I wanted to know how you did your taxes, but since we're going to be talking about that, we'll just roll
really
with that.
Poorly. The IRS is probably like at my door too.
She's joking. Moving on.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
This is so awkward.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was literally about to say.
Oh, okay.
This is like the most awkward thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think this. Let's get to the argument. Let's get to the argument. Hopefully,
It's further in, and yeah, all of the Game Fest interviews are cringe. But doing the actual journalistic work involves watching this shit.
So it's soon. It's quick. I'm trusting you here, Carl. Okay.
Yes, it's quick because it should be like the first argument that she makes.
Okay, let's
that
find
she
out.
presents with her conversation.
Yeah, let's find out.
We promised we were going to do this back and forth. I don't know if it was my turn yet, but I'm catching the ball.
It's your turn now.
So, thank you. What I wanted to know is, like you said, you got into it in 2020, but I know from my own story, like the reason why I wanted to get into games was because I wanted to see more representation. Working on a project like this, where you're getting to write Black characters and talk about like history and some of our culture, like, how did that make you feel?
It really means a lot to me. I've been playing games for a decent chunk of my life, but a lot of it was when I was younger, especially it was like Call of Duty or, goofy stuff with my cousins, which the games have narrative, but I don't consider them necessarily like narrative, like strongly narrative games. And, I've enjoyed all these characters. And then as I got older, I started playing like Mass Effect or The Last of Us, games that are really well known for their story. But I didn't, and even though I enjoyed those characters, I never really saw characters that looked like me all that often. So for me to be able to put that out into the world, so someone who, plays their first game at like 12 or 13 or something, or even younger, for them to see someone that looks like them or like their mom or their little sisters, like, that means just so much to me. Just because it's not something that happens very often in games.
Pause. There.
Okay, so we've done it. We've shown the thing you wanted.
Nah,
to show.
no shot, homie. No shot.
Yes,
You're
yes,
actually
shot.
saying that. Nah.
Well, let him explain.
Yes,
let him explain.
Yes, shot.
Carl?
You would know if you played the game, but you didn't. But it's okay. I'll educate you.
All right.
I'll do your job for you.
buddy.
No problem. Okay, so the story of South of Midnight is two things. One is racism is bad, racism. The other story, which is the actual, what I thought was going to be the A plot B part of the game. The game is about a character by the name of, forgetting the fucking main character's name, something Flood, and her mother, and her grandmother are 3 generations of women that do not communicate with each other. You could say that it's like Black Alice in Wonderland. And the entire through-line narrative of the game is that the character Hazel Flood, the character Hazel, is basically supposed to be a go-between for mothers and daughters and grandmothers not communicating with each other because they get stuck in their own boundaries. However, the actual through line of the game, if you actually play it, is the worst combination of the worst mechanics you could ever imagine in video games whatsoever. It doesn't feel like it was play-tested. It feels like somebody tried to reach into the PlayStation 2 Platinum Collection to collect all the mascot games of old, and Rayman, and tried to fuse it with a story narrative that doesn't even follow its own ontological inertia. Ontological, not deontological. Irrelevant. Ontological inertia means load-bearing plot. I want to make sure I explain that to you. So, the story itself doesn't support the narrative that it presents with what it's trying to get you to care about. And it is, in fact, a story-based game. That is the only thing that is there, because the combat is lackluster. They go out of their way to make the most prototypically hateful black character imaginable that only passes muster if all you saw was the trailer and nothing else. She is vapid. She is self-centered. She is incapable of understanding anybody else's viewpoint, which is supposed to be a part of the through line of the game of the story, but it's not. They spend all of this time. They spend all of this time in the narrative of the game. Let me finish.
How did that interview say that they did not care about making gameplay?
Because they cared more about the story of what they were supposed to perceive for people to see a black character on screen than actually making that black character a character. They made her a caricature. They made her a blank slate that people could insert themselves into, while then delivering a story that, instead of actually giving you a world to be invested in, instead is just the diatribe of somebody off of Tumblr deciding to say, if you don't like this, it's because you're a hateful bigot. While also getting lore wrong, getting mythology wrong, getting mythology that they pulled from the game wrong, and ultimately delivering a product that is not worth the near $70 for the product.
Okay, so I don't get what the interview had to do with that. She was asked a pointed question about what a game like this would, like, how it connects with her and her real life.
Because
if you got asked a question by
Irrelevant finish answering. Go ahead, Irrelevant finish.
It was important to her to have, representation in her life. Is like, hey, what is important about this game? Obviously, she didn't say it's important to have representation inside of a game. I don't get where this idea is that, like, all of the funding for the game went to this one chick to
Did I say that?
Just make a black character.
Did I say that?
Where's the argument? Because the argument should be,
because I said it.
Because the argument should be that you believe that there was lackluster. Yes. Well,
tell me my opinion, please.
And they just made a bad game. Is your argument just that they made a bad game? Then who cares? There's millions of bad games. Your argument is that they spent too much time, resources, or effort into making it like have black representation, make it woke, or something to do with feminism. That is the argument. Otherwise, they just made a bad game, and who cares? It's like any other bad game.
Just before you respond, $5 from Audacity to say, I was so mad that Baldur's Gate 3 made me have all the gay sex possible. Thank you for the $5. Anyway, carry on. Go ahead and respond, Carl.
The point, if you actually played the game, is that when I went through and looked at all of their art assets, looked at the actual way they put it together, looked at the other interviews, which we won't have time for this segment, but I wanted to start there with that one. If you played the game Ahrelevant, which you didn't, so how can you tell me about what my opinion is and what my argument if you didn't actually play the game yourself to know yourself?
It's
about if you actually play the game, if you... No, it is not about the interview. It is about how the interview in context explains... Okay, your comment is wrong, because it's not actually addressing what I'm saying. You have holes in yours. The actual content of the game has everything from lazy AI art generation that steals from the business, the fact that they replaced the main character because they didn't go along with the particular diatribe of what the company wanted in terms of their social culture of what they wanted to put forward with the character. They decided to sell the racism bad narrative because every single white character in that game has some reason, if they're not a good, sweet baby Aladdin that never did anything wrong, which, that's whatever. White male, that is the best character ever, has never done anything wrong, sweet character. Woman who's responsible for killing her father, but she has a reason, it's because she was abused, so killing him with his pet alligator was acceptable. A brother that was basically abused for being lame and slightly retarded, so his white brother decided to string him up into a tree, and the trauma was so embarrassingly bad that it transformed him into a giant tree. a black male character that is supposed to be a transforming creature known as a Rougarou, mostly a wolf character. They made him into an owl, who literally goes about this transformation, because the narrative of the game is that you are supposed to be a player character that is a weaver, that's supposed to heal the wounds that are created by trauma in people's lives, that he witnessed his mother die because they don't give his father money out of company script to give her treatment, and that watching his father in front of him with the worst form of racism baiting I have ever seen in design leads to him turning into said demonic owl creature and smashing the racist foreman that shot his father point blank upon the rocks, along with a white grandmother that is the definition of somebody's viewpoint of racism from the viewpoint of if they have never had a single person in their life that happen to have a different complexion than them that must think hateful of them because it's white versus black. With it being a character in a multiracial story, they go out of their way to demonstrate a focus on making it about black this and black that while still making a game that was bad. Yes, but they didn't just make a game that was bad because they focused on it. They explicitly said this was their goal for what they wanted to do. They explicitly had this as a goal.
Explicitly said they wanted to make a bad game and make it woke.
Before you respond, Ahrelevant, there's $10 from Mega Lag to say, actually, to give Carl a massive win here. Irrelevant. If you don't play the game, then you really are just being a sophist. And then $5 from Audacity to say, the hardest part of Cyberpunk 2077 is choosing the dong size. Thank you for the $5. And 430 bits from Certus to say, feminists and women have ruined video games because a game was made that was bad in my opinion. Killer argument, buddy.
Yep.
Maybe don't focus on a single game, but the actual prompt. Thank you for the 430 bits. And with that, I'm going to hand the mic over to Ahrelevant to respond and say what he wants to.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So here, I'll just do the argument because this is just wild to me. So if I want to make an argument that, if I want to make an argument that a specific culture inside of the development team has eroded video games, I would appeal to something that a lot of people can agree on. Maybe even you can agree on this, which is the NFL, the sports game. Great. Do you notice how you're interrupting me? It's the sports game mentality.
Lead by example.
All right, I got you. Yep, I got you. So the sports game mentality that every single person knows about, which is NFL 59 or whatever, and it's practically the same game that it was the year before, maybe a little bit of upgraded shaders at best. All right, this is something that is a clear ethos inside of the development pathology of sports games, and has started to bleed over into games like Call of Duty and other AAA games where they effectively don't make these very significant leaps or jumps or take any risks with their development that most people who play games can really notice when they play video games. This is something that is very clear inside of the game development and is shown in contrast to other games like that, for instance, Rockstar puts out, where they actually do add a lot of content in between their games, like Red Dead Redemption 1 versus Red Dead Redemption 2. There's a lot more content, a lot more to enjoy for a lot of the player base. These different gaming philosophies is something that we can point to in the culture. You have no reference or comparison, I feel like, when it comes to this. You just said that they made a bad game, and also inside of a development interview, they said it was important to make a black woman character like that. Okay.
Pause. You asked me an example. Go ahead. Finish.
Finish. Just one last thing. So I'm waiting for something that shows that gaming, right? The industry of gaming is in decay or collapse as a result of feminism or women.
So you asked me an example. I started going on an example. Then when I could then compare that to an elaboration of an example while still interrupting me in the beginning, you stop me from doing so, and then immediately try to lay out an example of an argument without actually giving me the ability to respond and then build upon it, while still constantly interrupting me. I can relate to different games that I've already played this year that are in my library right now that were paid for by my audience to do so because they wanted someone to investigate it and not just say something off the headlines like someone say, known internet media grifter Smash JT, who had to get schooled by Colin Moriarty live on air about him not understanding things as basic as the Takana numbers that relate to the actual sales in the industry before immediately being called on the exact same point that I'm telling you. He didn't play the games. He avoided them because he said that the games are cringe. Specifically for him, the difference between Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei, him saying, I avoided Ghost of Yotei because I don't like Eric Ishii. And then being asked, well, can you tell me about what you like about Ghost of Tsushima? He doesn't have anything to say other than, well, it sold a lot of money. It sold a lot of games. Without actually being able to refer to, the story was a little bit asinine, but mid at that. Just mid. The gameplay features, copy-paste, but no real development whatsoever. The same kind of cultural rot that already exists inside of Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7. Who this year alone, from the company themselves, saying that they're never going to do a back-to-back release of Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7 ever again, because they actually did have an example of how they ended up fucking up everything for the business. Because they went out of the way to try and put influencers and content packs first, as well as dipping into the inevitable well that all people do, chasing the follow the leader design, namely going from MOBAs to battle royales, and then into battle royales / independent async experiences that then led to them having some of the biggest trash out in the media industry, and worst coverage and worst criticisms and lots of revenue from the shareholders of the business that they then said they would never do that ever again. All of that coming from the comparisons across the industry. Same thing from I could compare to South of Midnight. I could compare to Creature Kind. Same thing that I could compare to that. I could compare to necessarily Ghost of Yotei, which is a more popular one. Same thing that I could compare to that. I could compare to other games. Give me 1 second. I could compare to other games on top of that list.
For the life of me, I don't understand what the point of this is supposed to be in connection to the question I asked.
There is a market trend where you could even go from the people who are responsible for script doctoring the games, that the industry is chasing designs where they try to copy people and they end up making a product that is way out of its way, over designed and dated.
Okay, but once you're done there, okay, I really want to get to the actual prompt of the issue is how are women, and not all women I understand, and not all feminists I understand, right? Not all games I understand, but how are, in general, as a trend, women and feminism and these types of things ruining modern gaming? That's what I want to contend with.
I feel like I answered the question earlier, but I'll go over it again.
Just as brief as possible. Give me the elevator summary, okay? Right? We're in an elevator. We got a minute, right, before that elevator reaches to the floor. Give me that argument, please.
There is a trend from things like South Midnight to Isle of Jura to Merchants of Rosewall to Avowed, from the indie, even Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. There is a through line behavior in the industry where they attempt to ignore the primary base that buys the games, not based on gender, but based on the supposed demographics who they wish to bring in.
Sure.
In the modern audience.
So I get this. So basically, what your argument is, and correct me if I'm wrong and misinterpreting it, I don't want to do it, right? But your argument is that instead of appealing to the modern audiences that they should be appealing to, which are mostly men, they are going and chasing what the feminists and what the women think that they should be appealing to, which is taking games and making them more for an audience that doesn't play games anymore. Is that the gist of your argument?
The word I use wouldn't be for men. It is them going and trying to feature games to an audience of people that don't already have the appeal for that genre, for that game type, in whatever specter of the industry you're looking at, whether it be the indie, the AA, the AAA, the 4X, that they are trying to get these people to buy this game, and that they then have discussions and arguments where they attempt to dismiss people from the core genre that wouldn't have a problem with buying it, but are explicitly turned off because they go out of their way to tell them, don't buy our game. If you disagree with me, if you disagree with what we seek to do, if you don't like our opinion, then don't buy our game. And then people don't. And then the game falls down critically, as well as from the viewpoint of the players, that everyone critically pans it as a bad game. For both reasons, whether they disagree with the way that it was designed, or the fact that they don't play it because they don't remember it, because there's a dime a dozen games that are like this. Kill the Justice League, the remake for Saints Row, the Forspoken, and Intronoria: The Last Song, but not as bad as Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. Games that come and go because they're trying to get into a trend that has already passed them by, because they don't have their finger on the pulse of what people are actually buying. Not that they're just pandering to men or pandering to women.
And that's because of women and transgenders and things.
People that are in the industry telling them that don't listen to what the audience wants. Gamers are dead, and they don't have to be your audience. Okay, listen to what we're telling you from the market research. Yes, that.
Okay. Wouldn't that just be bad marketing?
You would say that it's not because supposedly the game should just be good because the game should be good because the game is good. Except that if you go out of your way to tell people, "Fuck you, we don't want you to be our audience. You're dead, and you don't deserve to buy anything. And you don't deserve to experience anything. And we're actively going to try to push you out of the industry." That it shouldn't be the response of a marketplace using their wallet to vote with confidence in what it is that they want versus what they don't want. That's why Balatro was Game of the Year last year. That's why Expedition 33 was Game of the Year this year.
Balatro was Game of the Year because it was an insanely good game that was incredibly easy for people to get into. Like, what?
And you missed the articles that were written by people that were explicitly saying that this is a opportunity.
Nobody reads video game articles.
I don't even know. I know you don't. I know that you don't because you're not actually a game journalist. You don't look into them. But that's okay.
Read video game. Wait, I'm sorry. Do you actually think Balatro won because people read video game articals?
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. You didn't even listen to what I said because you interrupted me again.
Just real quick.
Okay.
So just for fact checking here, right? Balatro made according again, this is just my Google research, okay? So if you've got better numbers,
a lot of money.
Please give them to me. But it made over $60 million in gross revenue across Steam and mobile by early 2025. And
That's correct.
It's made about in mobile alone nearing 10 million. How was this game a failure or ruined?
I didn't say it was
bad.
I didn't say it was failure.
I believe he was trying to use it as a success story in connection with like something to do with the marketing or development in contrast to the feminists and like women that were taking over these other games. Balatro, I would dare to say most people didn't hear almost anything from any of the development of Balatro. They just played a game that they thought looked cool. It was a cool card game, roguelike. It was just a genuinely cracked game. That's just all it was.
Didn't you just say that you don't read articles and therefore nobody reads articles? So how would you be privy to the knowledge?
Is that what I just said? Is that what I just said?
What did I just say? That nobody reads gaming articles?
I said nobody reads gamer articles. I never said I don't read them. I said nobody does. And that's absolutely true. You think the majority of people who play video games read gamer articles?
I'll just repeat my statement.
Genuinely believe that.
Most people who are informed and don't get their opinions from media grifters actually do their own research. Yes. And you would then know if you read the gaming articles that there were people.
Dude, this is so serious. The reason Balatro made $60 million is because everyone was reading that Kotaku article, bro. Come on, man.
Keep yapping.
It can't be. Yeah, no, I mean that like nobody believes that, bro.
Are you done?
Yeah, done? Go ahead. Yeah.
You would know from reading the articles then that there were multiple people that attempted to use Balatro as a fuck the industry story. That just like you could say for Megabonk, just like you could say for this year for Expedition 33, especially in the position of Western RPGs, because there is a very well-known history that game developers hate JRPGs. You could make multiple arguments about why, but they used it as a cudgel to bash the industry instead of necessarily just liking video games for being good games, which that was pretty much the case. Because another darling of that year was Astrobot, which was more or less a quintessential celebration of 25 years of Sony history, especially considering the kind of platinum hits that were then just ignored by the media industry as they started chasing trends. People went there not to celebrate Balatro being good, but to say, fuck all of you, we have something that demonstrates how we don't like you and you don't know what we want. There are multiple cases of this. Multiple YouTubers reported on this. Multiple games journalists that are actually respected and not just media grifters reported on this. Richard Lewis, Dustin Thorne Shields, Sven Scarin, I Will Dominate, Kristen Muriera, Colin Moriarty himself, and every one of his reporters from Sacred Symbols Plus as part of his organization.
Quick heat check. Do you think most of the people, let's say 90% of the people who played Balatro even know, let's say 4 of those names that you just said?
They're just the person that it's a normie and they're just playing a game and their opinion is like, dude, is game good? Is game bad? I don't care.
Okay, yes, you just described like 90% of people who play video games is people who boot up Fortnite on their fucking Xbox, homie. Yeah.
Except that your example was that literally get me on to talk to people who believe like Action Gold, who gets used as an example, as cudgel to describe people that are a part of some far-right paradigm, not the people in the middle. That's not what you did.
Asmon Gold's point is that modern gaming is getting ruined by women and feminism. I have clips that I pulled and I even added to that Twitter thread where he's saying that like women being in video games is just lowering the quality of games. We used to, by his own admission, this is back when gaming used to be good. Like gaming has gotten bad for some reason. In comparison to now, we have such a wide scope of video games that we can enjoy. Things like Balatro versus Red Dead Redemption 2. This kind of like difference, this chasm of difference is massive. Animal Crossing versus Ready or Not. Path of Exile that you brought up versus like, fucking Pokemon. That's a really, really great gaming landscape where a multitude of people can integrate into this. And something that I'm gonna for now make a positive point about like women and feminism in video games is it's good to be able to have that kind of diverse base. I have played Animal Crossing. I like Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing probably would have never been made if it wasn't for trying to target women as an audience, right? Stardew Valley might have never been made if it wasn't made to specifically target women in gaming. These games and other games with feminism in mind, hey, maybe we can target an audience for video games that haven't been targeted traditionally, has been successful with very specific titles. But if you want to talk about like these other specific titles where they failed, then sure, you can talk about those. Also talk about the success.
Yeah. Before you respond, $20 from Zonia TV. Thank you for the $20. To say, I think most of the things killing AAA games is cutting corners on content at release date in favor of paid DLC, microtransaction, season pass, and subscription content models. Indie games, on the other hand, are going strong. Thank you for the $20. Mike's to you, Carl. Go ahead.
I generally agree with that statement, by the way.
You should. I generally agree with that statement because most of the problem really comes from the nickel and diming of the industry. And no, I'm not just talking about specific games, Ahrelevant. As I said in my opening statement, it's three things. Not just the people playing the games, not just the games, but the spheres that those games possess in. Let me ask you a question right now. All those games that you described, have you been playing any games online with other people?
Have I played those games online with
other
people?
No. Have you been playing the kind of online games that you could find right now somebody streaming on Twitch with other people?
Yes. Are you asking me if I played these games multiplayer?
Have you been playing Arc Raiders? Have you been playing League of Legends? Have you been playing Warzone? Have you been playing Exile 2 on camera with other people?
Yes.
Have you been playing Valorant?
No, I don't like Valorant. CSGO. CS is better.
I do not play CSGO, so I can't really speak to that, but I have played Valorant.
Hey, you give that a shot.
I dislike it. I don't like Search and Destroy. It is the fact basis upon something like, let's just use WoW Classic. There is a problem with this sphere where there are people that necessarily go into online games and have created this zone and this cone of silence where you have to tiptoe around people in multiplayer because you have no fucking clue when you are playing online in these social spheres around things like Rivals, Valorant, League, fucking Apex Legends if you don't get a lobby with a hacker, what have you, where people, for the integrity of the game, decide that they want to go viral with a clip, and they go farming to get attention by attacking somebody in the game and setting them up as the villain of the fucking week with some bullshit about them being harassed and antagonized, which would be the part where the social contagion really starts, where you could really say women and feminism, and not all women and not all people who have feminist desires, but a very specific goal of people who want to play mommy and daddy fucking internet.
I have a question on that specifically, Carl, if I may. Do you have an example of someone who is, you feel, in your opinion, because you mentioned a cone of silence where you have to be careful what you say in these environments because you might get clipped and go viral and be canceled because by claiming you're harassing someone or whatever. Is that generally the point you're making here, or am I confused?
Yes.
Okay, so can you give us an example of that happening that we can talk about?
Lost to the accursed farms and pirate software. And stop killing games.
Okay.
This year.
Explain it to my audience, please.
Feminists didn't do that? What?
Okay.
Pirate software got canceled by feminists?
I think Pirate Software got eaten alive by a group of people that don't like bully behavior that happen to involve people that have his social paradigm. Yeah, he is inherently
Wasn't he literally
leftist.
canceled by Asmongold? He was
No, he wasn't.
Asmongold was farming the shit out of Asmongold was farming the shit. The whole WoW community was farming the shit out of him on at least their roach stuff.
No. Let me finish.
Let Carl explain what he means, please. Go ahead.
My bad.
So my response to that is, you think it was Asmongold that did it, and not Ross of the Accursed Farms, who was lied about by Pirate Software.
Is that a question or is that a statement?
Yes, I'm asking you.
The entire internet hates Pirate Software. It was popular for the entire internet to shit on that guy. Are you going to act like it's women or feminists?
No.
Okay, so then, I answered your question.
Who was the source that started it? This is something that you cannot debate. This is factual. Who was the person that was antagonized by Pirate Software who attempted to lie about a games movement by intentionally taking his words out of context and attempting to use his position to try and silence him? And what event happened in hardcore WoW from Soda Poppins' Guild, OnlyFans 2, that was responsible for the worldwide clip that everybody went viral for, dunking on him for, that then led to his cancellation?
Are you talking about the roaching clip?
I mean, not the roaching clip, but his entire behavior during OnlyFans 2. Which then also relates back to Stop Killing Games.
So you're asking about the roaching clip?
No, I know what the clips are. I'm not talking just the roaching clip. You're missing something because you're focused on just Asmongold. The roaching clip.
It wasn't just Asmongold. Everybody, literally, Destiny talked about him. Everybody talked about him, including people who don't play video games.
So you somehow forgot about Ross of the Accursed Farms, who was the leader of the Stop Killing Games.
Look, I don't know what's being referred to here, but this is either the best debate I've ever hosted. I can explain to you.
I can't decide. I can promise you he doesn't know. So I can explain it to you.
Okay? Yes, explain it to me, please. Explain it.
The original drama started from Ross of the Accursed Farms attempting to use the Stop Killing Games movement that he initiated himself, as technically the leader, but just as the mouthpiece to try and get people on board with the idea to preserve video games, to quote, stop killing games, namely live service games that have a component that could be preserved so that people can be able to access it in the form of something like a private server game. Because in the writing for EA, it's written in that it is a service game that they will destroy the live service connection to, that it cannot function without that live service connection because its full single player mode is online focused. He laid out his entire argumentation very clearly, and Pirate Software, Jason Hall, went out of his way to inherently lie about him, did everything possible to claim he said something that he didn't, that he made an argument that he didn't. And then deleted VODs, deleted clips, continued to lie about it, and tried to create a cone of silence around the conversation by saying he didn't know what he was talking about, he's complete dog shit, he doesn't know anything about games development, he's acting for something that wasn't possible. And him using his authority to silence him as a big figure content creator led to other people not wanting to speak up because they weren't game devs. They weren't indie game devs. They weren't indie game devs that are still working on a game for 5+ years that knows what he's talking about. And thus, people didn't want to speak up about it, even though they knew about it, because who's going to speak up to the million something sub and at the time of his popularity?
Pirate Software, and I didn't speak up because, it wasn't Pirate Software. I know how the poem goes. Go ahead.
Yes, but he went out and he created a cone of silence that caused people to not want to step up, because the fact of the matter is, when you're a big figure like that, it is quite literally small bank takes little bank. The quote smallest trainer being smothered from it.
Yeah, I just don't understand how that's feminism or women.
Well, he has an audience that is inherently left-leaning, that believes in the purity spiral and believes in a certain way that one should behave and carry themselves and act as a content creator. Can you agree that that's something that they have? They do, in fact, constitute it to a purity spiral.
Are you referring to Pirate Software?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what Pirate Software's political leanings are for his stream or as the people who watch his stream. And I'm not sure how you do, but go ahead.
Because I researched it. Because I looked into it. I did more than just say Moldovi's fig tree.
Gotcha. What's the proof for that?
By actually going back and looking at his VODs and looking at the behavior that he had that he carried out with on OnlyFans 2. And no, I'm not just talking about the roaching clip in the second Dire Maul raid. I'm talking about his behavior through the entirety of OnlyFans 2, with all of the other broadcasters and streamers that he was with in the OnlyFans 2 guild that he was brought in with, for all the other content creators that were not a part of mainstream WoW play. because the feature of that event was to bring in non-WoW players and put them in the position of being new WoW players to experience the content and lead content raids, of which at that time, one of the leads for the guild was Tyler 1 and Yamato's Blade. And
Are
it
you
was
implying... How does... Okay, whatever, you just keep going.
I'm laying out details because you know what I'm talking about, but you keep trying to interrupt me.
Yeah.
From the Rochin clip, but not just the Rochin clip, but other interactions he had with people, like Zeklol, Lakari, Yamato's Blade, Tyler 1 himself, Soda Poppins, and other figures. During that entire diatribe, people started noticing that he had an attitude and a problem with bullying people and attempting to just shit on them for no other fucking reason than because he could. And because smaller streamers are hoping to get views off of this bigger streamer event, where the feature is for them to behave and play in a social environment, where it's more than just playing a game endlessly for thousands of hours, therefore they have no one to talk, but bringing in new blood so they can actually have community and consolidation to actually be gamers, playing a game, having fun, playing the game, not just it's the game they're playing, but they like hanging out with the people that they're playing it with. That he was an absolute bully to those people, the way that he was an absolute bully to Ross. Because of the cone of silence he created by trying to criticize him, Ross didn't want to originally speak out against him doing the lies that he did on the coverage that he then tried to delete the VOD clips of, because he explicitly said, people are trying to get me to talk about it endlessly, so I'm going to bury it. He finally responded to it after all that went viral, after everybody under their and their mother, including Brish, the one who talks endlessly with Kidology, Chuck Logic, complained about Moldova's victory, he's a furry. People started looking deeper into the clips that he historically had with any other content he did to anybody else, and started noticing his bully tendencies and his attitude. And when Ross finally responded to the nature of how he took his words out of context, lied about him, lied about the things that he believed, effectively bullied everybody in that game, to the point that he was a problem that he had to be removed from the guild and got G-kicked by Soda Poppins, because it was better for the camaraderie and keeping people actually playing the game, instead of it just being more people interested in the drama of the situation than actually being there to be in a group.
Let me read some super chats, and we're going to give
Go
it
ahead.
to
Go ahead.
Ahrelevant. Okay. $5 from Zonia TV to say, shit talking is wild in the Tekken community. Perhaps you're playing the wrong game, Carl?
No. Like, shit talking is a part of the community. Yeah. What?
$10.
Especially if you're talking fighting games.
That's
Olivia.
$10 from Zonia TV to say Pirate Software got on the radar by bailing on his WoW hardcore guild in the middle of a raid. After that, he ended up under the microscope. That's the original drama. Learn your lore. And then $20.
That's what I just said.
$20 from Frank. Frank GH6MF to say, in Yotai, the protagonist offers protection to a couple. She's clearly a warrior in a world where female warriors exist. The "but she's a woman" line comes up, which shouldn't exist in this setting. It creates a girl boss MO. Thank you for the $20. Okay.
So no, can I that please?
Go ahead.
So
fine.
All of that you've gone through, all of that list, I'm not sure you named one woman, and I'm not sure you named any individual who is outspokenly a feminist.
Really?
So I just want to hear.
Other than Pirate Software himself.
Has Pirate Software stated he's a feminist?
Yes, he's a leftist, and he believes in women-led politics. Yes.
Where did he say that?
All over his content on all of his streams. Did you do research to study it and watch it? No?
I did all of his streams according to... Yeah,
yes, that's what journalists do. Yeah, because he started leading the VODs, and it became an interest to put him on the... Yes, I'm an independent journalist, just like fucking Sophia Narwitz.
No, okay. All right, so I'll just assume that guy's a feminist. For whatever reason, I'll just assume that. How is that ruining video games? Is it because he threw a temper tantrum and was like a narcissist?
Well, considering that somehow you're just pretending you don't know this, despite having been originally a Twitch broadcaster, when you are in a sphere of influence around people, stop pretending you don't understand things. It's kind of frustrating because I know you're smart.
I'm a political streamer, and I watched the drama. Yeah, he was being a narcissist, but what does that have to do with women or feminism?
So you're pretending you don't understand how optics work. Okay.
When you are irrelevant, you know.
When When you are a person that is a big fish in a little pond, or you have the ability to open doors for people, there are going to be times where people are going to feel like they have to walk on eggshells around a particular person so that they don't close doors for themselves and or get bullied or fucked with. And quite literally, somehow to the denigration of the chatter who didn't understand what the fuck I was pointing out, because the only thing people know is the roaching clips, because that's all they really cared about. They didn't do the background information to know what happened that led up to it, or how it then followed through, because at that point it wasn't that interesting of a drama. Then it became an interesting drama, but they only paid attention to one character that was a part of the drama. Because of all that behavior that he had, the behavior he had, the words that he said, the arguments that he did, the fact he couldn't take responsibility, the fact that not only was he dismissing people that were smaller than him to say they had nothing to say, but he then attempted to walk around the bigger figures that pointed out what he did and the bad behavior he had. Josh Stripe Hayes, Charlie, Moist Critical, and more famously his interview on camera with Dr. K. His inability to take responsibility for his actions and actively trying to deny these things that he actively did say and did on camera led to his cancellation from his own audience because they believed that he had a viewpoint and a behavior that he did not display. And after all the farming of the clips and all of the review of the clips, including the people that he bullied, the way that he acted, his behavior, and finding that behavior demonstrably in later content and earlier content in his broadcast, people kept looking and watching him spiral out of control because he couldn't be able to take accountability for his actions, apologize because he decided he could never be wrong and there was never anything to about.
Which is feminism? How are we bringing this back to feminism or women?
Because he kept saying that because he said that it was being used as a way for people to attack him to then attack his audience by proxy. Because they were criticizing him, not for his behavior.
The victim is feminism?
They tried to attack him.
Donald Trump is a feminist, apparently.
Somebody tried to attack him, to attack his audience, so he attempted to avoid accountability for what he said, and instead saying these are just evil Nazi trolls who hate my politics, and thus that's why they're attacking me. That kind of behavior, where a company, an individual that is an influencer, or a particular space has such a vilatrolic viewpoint of how you should carry yourself that they can attempt to then stop you from actually being able to speak on things, that they can then compel you by speech to behave and act a certain way, because if you were to speak against them and they were to shit on you, it would lead to a denigration of your ability to grow and have reach. Because then this person can just point and say, oh, this guy, I shouldn't listen to this guy. He's a fucking lolcow. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Is this an argument that Pirate Software had a lot of clout and that he could make people do what he wanted to through that clout? And that's feminism?
When everybody is there together in an event to have fun, and there's this person that's using their politics and their viewpoints and their size to try and compel you to do what they want, otherwise he's gonna shit on you. Yeah, but not just there. There are other examples. You keep getting stuck on one so that when I can relate it to another, you then say, I don't understand. So from there,
how does it relate to feminism?
Because most of these games are played by people that have this political viewpoint, and they lead first with their politics into gaming.
You are saying most of the people who play WoW are feminists?
That's not what I said.
You said these games. What game are you referencing outside of WoW in the context of
online video games in general that have any type of multiplayer feature? I don't even
think that's true. I think most multiplayer video games are played by like conservative men. I don't even think that's true.
So who do you think the majority audience of Overwatch was? Because I know, because it was majority women.
That's probably a mix.
It was predominantly women. And in those social groups,
you don't think that's true for the entirety of Overwatch since like
if you
season
played
one?
Overwatch, you were more
it was
feminine.
About 5%.
Yes.
It was about 5% more women than men.
I agree with this point. If you play Overwatch, you are much more feminine than I am. Yes, that's true. I agree with that point. $20. $20 from Sonia. And this is to Carl. It says, so is your argument that Pirate Software, an outspoken feminist who has regularly advocated for women's representation and visibility in games, got canceled from the gaming community by feminists?
Yes, and everyone else too. But the problem is that it was started off by the feminists, and then everybody else got on top of it.
Do you know what you just said yes to? What did you just say yes to?
I agreed to the fact that it was started by feminists, and then everybody else piled on for their own different reasons.
By feminists. A feminist was canceled by feminists.
Yes. Purity spiral.
Okay. All right.
Okay, $10 from Zephyr Hash. $10 from Zephyr Hash to say, How is it the game should cater to legacy audiences, but streamers should not cater to their audiences? Shouldn't Pirate Software please the feminists if his audience is feminist?
Is that also directed to me?
Yes.
I'm assuming.
A broadcaster can be able to pander and choose to make their content for whatever audience they want, but we are all still a part of a greater fucking internet. And along with that comes being a part of a greater fucking community, a greater space, a greater business sense. And it is the fact that there are people who go around, and they are slightly tourists, but I'm not going to stop them from playing games, because you're allowed to play more than one video game. You can play one video game and be literally the expert, but he'd cancel you for that. There is a base where you can be able to have content for such an audience that you choose to pander to them. However, he presents himself as a media figure that can then speak about how people should move forward and carry themselves through the business. And he was hypocritical to his own standards, that he refused to take the criticism that he was offered by other people that could be considered his bigger figure peers. He tried to ignore the smaller fish and tried to ignore the big people who also could criticize him and said everybody's just a Nazi, everybody's just a chud,
Okay.
everyone's just a hater.
How about we do this? Okay. I think we're circling the drain just a little bit. Would you guys be adverse to getting closing statements, and then we got some other people who want to come on and they have some thoughts? Do you mind if I open up the pit a little bit, right?
If you
Get
want,
some more
if you
people
want,
in
hey,
there?
dude,
What
you want
do
to do
you
that?
guys
I'm
want?
on board. I'm on board.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine.
On for it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get your last words from both of you, since you both were the invited guests, and then if you've got real big thoughts on women, okay,
Big feels,
and
big feels,
gaming,
big feels.
please jump on in. We'll let Carl have the first word, so we're gonna let Carl.
Go ahead. No, let him. No, let Ahrelevant have first word.
Oh, okay.
Ahrelevant, close us out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like we're any closer than where we started to be able to actually get an argument for specifically feminism or women.
Because you are listening.
I feel like the argument as to whether or not a push towards specific more left-leaning or woke ideas alienating a predominantly white male or just male consumer base is a real thing that we can talk about, but the idea that it's ruining gaming is like way too bold. It might have ruined specific games for like specific people, but generally speaking, it is this person like alienates a certain base of consumers, and then they just made a bad game. That's it. I don't see any argument of like that they only cared about representation and that's where all of the dev time went or anything like that. I don't know. I don't see any argument like that, but yeah.
Okay, Carl, go ahead.
So even though I wasn't able to go through the examples I had provided or the clips I had provided from Ahrelevant's chat, because he can't stop interrupting people, it is the case fact that if you attempt, even with Asmon, even with Zach's examples, if you attempt to say all games are bad because of women and feminism, and you're not able to actually hone down on specific case examples, then you're going to just simply paint with a broad brush, and you're going to attempt to do what Ahrelevant said in his clips that you can find on his channel right now on Ahrelevant on kick.tv/Ahrelevant from 7 days ago. Look for the one that has the yellow shirt in the first one. There's one that came before the other one.
Damn, you're going to remember my shirt? That's crazy.
Yeah, because I prepared for this debate and reviewed it on camera and your arguments. But it's okay. We never got to them. It's fine. Take by the bell. It is the case that if you attempt to try and literally say, tell me an example of feminism, tell me an example of women, you're never going to be able to have a conversation, because literally you're going to tone police every single example that could be provided, because you don't notice them, because you're not playing them, and you're certainly not playing them multiplayer with other people online, because it's like if you only play single player games, you won't be able to have an opinion about multiplayer games. Just like if you only play multiplayer games and you say, if it isn't an online service game, I shouldn't play it, you're going to miss all of the beautiful single player games and asynchronous games that are out there. You gotta get over the inch-high barrier of politics and proselytization and get off a pulpit and actually sit down and play something and really invest yourself with the people to understand it. It is the case matter that there are business sectors, there are companies, historically even Riot Games, now that they're fully owned by Tencent, there are multiple individuals, there are multiple figures, there are multiple businesses, individuals that are themselves game journalists, individuals that are themselves, that what you and I both would agree, are media grifters. We didn't get there either, but that's okay. There are multiple examples of influencers. There are multiple examples of influencer orgs. There are multiple examples of developer groups. There are multiple examples of writing ticketing groups and script doctoring groups, including the beloved boogeyman that most of the media grifters like to accuse, which is Sweet Baby Inc. and others like them, which also includes things like Silverstring Media, Dragon Baby, Space Ghost Baby X, and what have you, that are responsible for a specific attempt to create a contagion that prevents you from being able to experience the industry for what it's worth and what it has to offer, because they both don't want to actually speak to the regular people in the middle. They only want to talk about the supposed extremes and what they don't enjoy. But the people in the middle do not care about these things. But they want to have the context to understand where the people on the extremes are coming from. And they often talk over each other, and they don't address those problems, much like you have. And if you actually enjoy these games and you actually go out and find them, the majority of the industry itself, if you really decide to actually use your own opinion and not just listen to a person, you will actually be able to find great games. But the actual culture of games, being able to see eye to eye and understand it, we definitely didn't find it here. You don't see it because you're not there. You're not invested in it. At best, you are into yourself with your own group, like a clique. And inside you and yours, you don't notice it. That's crazy. This guy's talking nonsense. But me, someone who's actually investigating it, reviewing it, actually doing the work on the ground, they're listening to the interviews, as boring and bone dry as they can be. The events, the interviews, the on the ground coverage, the actual live coverage from where it's first announced, to the writing sessions, to the interviews that they have with the people on camera, and all of the different interviews that they have, where they describe this behind closed doors, and it gets revealed after everything's done behind closed doors.
What is this, bro? God damn, bro. Oh,
I gotta say all the shit that you wouldn't let me say because you were too busy. It is the case that if you do any level of research yourself, you'll be able to find what I'm talking about. Any person can fact check what I just said. If you're able to get over that anti-barrier of deciding that you're going to police other people and what they say, because you decided your forever game is better than other people, or that you have more hours than the person talking, you're going to be locked in this culture war forever. You can leave the culture war at any time by actually opening your eyes and trying to understand people. But if you don't do that, you're going to be lost. Because the industry is cooked. Parallel societies already exist. They've already been built by media grifters, 100%. But you can be able to just... I'm almost done. You can be able to just find good shit and discuss it with people if you go beyond it. If you don't do that, then you're going to be locked looking for the feminism, and looking for the leftism, and looking for the rightoids, and the leftoids. Done.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, thank you both for being here. We got quite a few people who have thoughts they want to share, and so I'll bring them on in a second. But first, before I do that, $5 from Adam Refriended to say Carl really needs outside help to make his arguments clearer. I can't quite follow him, even though I get where he's coming from. And also, if you have a specific clip of Ahrelevant that you think he's wrong on, send it to me. We will watch it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and you can tell us why he's wrong. I'm perfectly willing to do that. Send me one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let him do it. Before we open it up, let's do that. I think it might be more productive.
1 second.
Yep.
I want to deafen him so it doesn't overlap.
Yeah, I get you. It's Ahrelevant over there sweating. Okay.
Bro, I say some unhinged shit, bro.
Well, we'll see what you're going to say. I don't know.
Let's see.
I haven't seen
maybe
these
I
clips.
agree.
I'm unhinged now.
On this, though.
I'm unhinged now, not you. That's crazy.
I said I say I'm unhinged shit, is what I said.
Oh, not me?
Yes. I said unhinged shit, but okay.
Well, once he gets us a thing, we'll open it up and we'll bring on the peanut gallery, if you will. Yeah, this has been an experience.
It is. It's an
I feel like we've
experience.
gone on a journey. I don't know where.
I have more clarity.
We are?
Okay.
But we are on a journey together, and we're taking this experience together, gang. Okay.
I think I'm gonna have it a guess that it's probably gonna be a clip of me talking about either Asmongold not playing enough games to say that he's like knows the gaming landscape, or to no. If I had to guess, he's probably gonna pull that one. If I had to guess,
Maybe. I'm gonna be real with you. I have no idea anymore what he's gonna bring up. I don't know. And I'm waiting with bated breath to find out. I really am. I'm invested now. Okay, we're locked in. I want to see where we're going. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Also, if this guy doesn't have the clip like immediately available, like
I don't know.
that's chill. I imagine we could just wait for it.
Yeah, we could bring people on, and then when he finds it, we'll stop and I'll mute those cretins. Okay, and we'll get to it. But I'll just drag some people on. Hey, welcome. You're all live. We're waiting for a clip right now. But while we wait, what do you guys think? How you guys doing? How's everyone's New Year's going?
Good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah, we were just having a nice side conversation.
Yeah.
All related in the end.
We're talking about what an amazing guy you are, Wick.
I'm sure you are. Cameras, if you got them. If you don't, I understand. Any questions? I know Carl's looking for a clip right now, but while he does, any questions for Ahrelevant or any thoughts on the actual debate itself?
Ahrelevant, how you doing? How was your New Year?
So it was all right. I watched movies I didn't like, but overall, New Year's was good.
That's good. That's good.
How about you?
Doing good. Doing good. Had a good New Year. Nice and quiet. We didn't do too much.
Fantastic.
Kept it simple.
Wick, on topic with the debate, I can throw something out.
Go ahead. Give us what you got.
You guys have been talking about something that I think both of you would be willing. You've been talking about the same problem from two different angles, which it's designed by committee. Just this idea that AAA has this big issue, this contradiction where on one hand, some people want to pump out something efficiently like a business. So they're going to just pump the same thing out every year, your Maddens, your shooters. And then there are other people, they want to use the game studio that they are working for and their prominent role in it as a launching pad for a greater career. So they want to be the person that did something different. And then everybody's mad because there's a genre where people want the same slop. And there's a studio that's anxious to make something slightly different. Does that make sense to both of you? Just you disagree about whether or not it's women doing this disruption, or what is the actual point of disagreement? You both hate AAA games for pumping out slop.
Well, I
Specific companies.
I don't like just like what I personally consider to be lazy game deving. And a lot of AAA companies seem to be incentivized to do that. Now, yeah, I mean, I think we agree that there's an issue with that. The point of contention is often lost on me in this conversation.
Let's watch this clip real quick that Carl here has provided. I got it up on the watch screen so we could all watch it together, and he's giving me timestamps. It's about a minute, maybe a little more.
Destiny and Asmongold. This is gonna be fun.
So
Destiny and Asmongold, reacting to Destiny, reacting to Asmongold, reacting to Ahrelevant.
Yeah, it's the meta. Okay, let's see what they have to say.
Like this idea that the video games aren't made for men anymore. It's because you play one game. You play one game. You don't play video games. You play a video game. Big difference. You don't play video games. You play a video game. Big difference. And listen, I can complain about certain aspects of video games going down the shitter. You know what isn't? You know what isn't it? This idea that women are taking over. It's just loser ass fucking perspectives.
I'm trying to buy who's that based guy? Wait, that guy's actually kind of based.
They can probably make
Carl Casey, you got going in the background?
He's got another minute. There's another
Yeah,
minute.
they did make a game I didn't give a fuck about. It was called World of Warcraft. The problem is that they used to make a game I gave a fuck about it. It was called World of Warcraft. You want to make your own shitty little bullshit game?
Didn't they literally make World of Warcraft classic so these fucking absolute mouth breathers could play a video game again? Because they had a bunch of man-children who kept complaining? Isn't that literally what they did? And then half of these fucking losers abandoned the game like within a week? Dude, I hate this because it's proof that it's all nostalgia, right? They make these things, they appease to these things. Same thing happened with Diablo 2. All these people are like, oh, we're gonna relive our glory days in Diablo 2. We're gonna do all these things. No, the problem is you're like clinging on to the past. You're this cringe fucking loser who's like going through a midlife crisis, who's like buying a fucking Mustang because you want to feel like you're 20 again. That's literally what this is. And you're making the video game industry accommodate that. Okay, get with the times or get the fuck out of the way. Literally, like, bro, it's so fucking soy.
Okay,
that's I'm just actually based. Wait, what? Wait, that's so based. Why would you link in that?
For context to the chip, I was deafened, so I didn't hear what you asked. I'm gonna need you to repeat that again if you don't mind.
Well, before he does, $20 from Adam Refended to say, hey, Carl and the rest of the panel, are we discussing third and fourth wave feminism and how cultural Marxism, like Gramsci's ideas, is impacting gaming culture in the industry? Dev has on this topic.
Yes, sir.
I have no idea about any of the words that came out of your mouth. I did not go to college.
It's just capitalists blaming Jews. It's just capitalists pointing fingers at Jews. That's all it is.
Okay.
Wait, can I hear what that clip was? Can I hear what that clip was supposed to prove?
That's certainly a take. Holy shit.
Classic WoW is good, so you are wrong there.
Oh my god, you're so
Okay, no, but I'm curious. Yeah, Carl. So you linked me that clip. What's your disagreement with the take? Go ahead.
So before that clip starts, it's from the actual viral clip that went famous on the internet, because I doubt anybody actually did the research to go look at his full stream or his full reaction to what he said, to learn everything else that he said, which would be a level of sophistry from everybody else criticizing him that you're soy and getting cringe for. Let's start off there, and I'm certain that there's multiple people who have done that, because that's just what happens on the internet. Can't do anything about that, it's content. But, literally before that clip, he tries to criticize Zachary about his desire to play games like World of Warcraft, even though he is a variety streamer too and plays all different kinds of video games. It was the clip where he's criticizing his love of playing MMORPGs versus Destiny's desire, Steven's desire to play autism simulators like Factorio, Satisfactory, RimWorld, and what have you. He then goes on to complain, saying that the industry is over, you are a dinosaur, or rather, he said, you're a cringe loser fossil, and that you can either get with the times or just, I guess, get lost, get forgotten, which is literally the exact words that were used that I explained earlier in our discussion. Debate, discussion, whatever you want to fucking call it. That was the case of what started. I didn't use the words there, I said the exact words that came from Leigh Alexander, but Gamergate won. That was the exact words that were written on the articles that they all published at the same time to try and defenestrate and call gamers a deplorable group of people that couldn't adapt to this greater view that game journalists like, say, Rami Malek and Takahashi and Gina Jackson and Nathan Grayson and definitely Jason Schreier used as a piece of gamers are dead, they don't know what they're talking about, you should listen to them, you should listen to this ephemeral audience group, and that they are the ones that know what's hip, that know what's happening, and know what is good, because the gamers are dead and they don't have to be your audience. He's repeating the exact same, he's repeating in line,
Carl?
The exact
Where
same
did
line.
I say that? All I'm saying is that there's people who want to keep video games the same way that they were 20 years ago and not treat video games as a living, breathing art form, which they are, that adapts to, as people, us as humans, change our desirability for video games. The games I wanted 20 years ago are not the same games I want today. I expect different things, and that's the way the average normal person is. Our expectations for video games has evolved and changed. And
video games are going to naturally try to be able to accommodate the changing gamer base. And if you want it to stay exactly the same, why the fuck should this game accommodate you instead of looking to break into a market share that is like in the trillions now? Why would they do that? It makes no sense.
There's also modern retro games too. So there's all kind of games coming out to cater to people who want more retro style games that
100%.
let you relive that.
Yes, sir. And they still succeed, and they're still good, and they live right alongside the games currently coming out today. The ones that are bad then die off. But
I have a question for you, Carl, because you seem to talk a lot about game journos. Like, what does it matter what the game journos are saying? Because I don't know how many gamers are genuinely influenced by game journos.
Considering that literally in the age of the YouTube, the game journalist is competing against the gaming marketing influencer that themselves can be YouTubers, broadcasters, and influencers in the industry at the same time, it is the fact that they are competing against us. In the same capacity of journalists, I here and Ahrelevant here are actual data points that people will use to say, is a game good? Does it deserve to be played? There are people who will pay us money. There are people who will donate money. There are people that are in our communities that will work together to fundraise money, to then witness these video games, to play them on camera, and then try to experience them the same way you could say anybody does. And because there is indeed a goal from certain influencers to attempt to say that if you don't jump into, let's say, the anti-woke brigade, that would be led by people like Smash JT, and John Delraz, and John F. Trent, and York Torch Gaming, and other people like him that speak to trying to be in on the we hate DEI train, they are completely incapable and they are invisible to all of those games that exist that are good. Because those creators they make games as a thought-terminating cliche to avoid actually concerning themselves with them, discussing them, and playing them on camera, to find out if their accusations are actually good. They prognosticate a viewpoint about what the game is supposed to be and who it's supposed to pander to without actually playing it. Then
you're so long-winded. Can you wrap it up?
Carl, you've been making an argument against your point. The whole fucking thing Zona's trying to say is that game journos are just normie fucks, just like you, just like everybody on the fucking street.
Not every game journalist is a normie. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Let me see if I can get a temperature check from the whole panel, because I could be kind of old school in the way that I do things, but like when I'm looking for games, I'm literally just like scrolling through games and like looking at the play examples and seeing how they play, and I'm like, that looks cool. Put it in my save list or pre-order or wish list or whatever. I don't even look at the game journal shit. I never really have.
Sometimes
never
I'll check. Sometimes
how do you
I'll
guys
check
do
reviews, right?
Yeah.
Like to see how people like it, right? But that's usually after it's past the first check. The first check I do when I'm going and I'm looking for games is like, okay, well, as you said, look through the description of the game. Is it a type of game I would like? Like, is it a 4X game? Is it a looter shooter game? Is it whatever game I happen to be in the mood for? Once it passes that check, I go to the reviews and just kind of browse some good ones, browse some bad ones, and get a good idea. And if I still can't decide for whatever reason, maybe it's an expensive game that I'm on the fence about, then I might actually go to reviews from IGN or Metacritic or another gaming site, right? Like, I might. That's me, though, right?
People are more likely to be exposed to those opinions, not because they're going out and looking for them, but because they listen to a podcast or they watch a YouTuber who shares those opinions, and then you're just like, well, I take this person's opinion seriously because most of their recommendations have gone well. Like, that's the modern journal. People aren't going to a magazine or a website anymore. It's being fed to them by their timeline.
Unfortunately, those people are the ones that I said, and if they do that, they're retarded. Because they are just as much of the problem as you could say the opinion is there. Because there are plenty of people that are being, I think, just obtusely dense. And
what are you talking about? Why is that retarded?
Now you're literally doing this to feminism. Are you like? Is your argument like there's people like if there's a game that's feminist, it'll get like overly high reviews?
No, because I explained this before, and he also avoided it. I said that from the beginning of my opening statement. There is an entire diatribe. There is an entire ecosystem of people that are buying into opinions that they themselves don't actually inherently have and don't believe and don't have the ability to back up because they don't fucking know. Kind of like Ahrelevant's position. And they go out of this way to say the Neanderthals need to step out of the way and die because they have no idea what's going on.
Relevant fake gamer Ahrelevant who doesn't play
Fake gamer.
Well,
Fake
actually,
gamer.
hold on.
There's a whole ecosystem on YouTube of like shitting on DEI games. That's like probably way more of like a pull than
I feel
anything.
like that's even more trendy these days. But
Yeah, and they are retarded.
But I kind of wonder if most people are getting their game recommendations from friends and from seeing other people play the games, how much impact is this kind of diatribe actually having on people's own opinions on what games they play?
Well, I would make the argument right now that Asmongold, specifically because he's the topic of this panel, I would make the argument that Asmongold has a greater draw to what the vast majority of his audience believes about a game, more so than IGN, Kotaku, a Twitter feed, and any average YouTube video review channel does.
Yeah, but
by 10x.
But just to be clear, if you are saying that someone's specific audience, right, like Asmongold's specific audience is more influenced by Asmongold than they are by other audiences, isn't that just tautologically true? Like, people in my audience are going to be more influenced by what I say than they are by some other random streamers. I mean, that doesn't, like, yeah, that's true, but okay. It's trivial.
I understand why it would, well, the reason I would say it for this particular topic that Asmongold has more of a sway than, no offense, say you would, Wick, is because
it's got like
billion
times my audience, but yeah, go ahead.
Not even just the audience, not even just the audience size. Apart from the kind of like hyper political bent he's gone down these past couple of months, that's what he was doing beforehand. He was doing a lot of like talking about gaming, talking about game reviews, and that was kind of the niche he set in, and then he started falling down the political pipeline, and then now he's falling down the radicalization pipeline as a part of going down the radical politics pipeline. So he's basically kind of eaten his own tail, where he used to essentially complain about politics infecting everything. Then he tried to avoid politics by talking about gaming. Now he's backed up talking about politics, and I assume this time next year he's going to talk about how politics is ruining everything again.
I mean, if you want to look at it from a content position, he'll more than likely he could do that, but it could be more because it's going to be able to be farmed for content than necessarily being something he believes.
It seems to me here like the bigger question or the bigger problem here, at least for Carl, like your position, it seems like it has a lot less to do with feminism and women in games and has a lot more to do with the over-corporatization and monopolization of the games industry in general.
I mean, you could say that, but you would then you would be ignoring the fact that they in fact do lead cultural Marxism inside of the industry. Which, if you just, again, like I said, if you only look through the lens of, show me the women, give me the names, and I give you the names, you'll then say, well, you're just hyper-locked in this one thing. Despite literally what I said, that it's literally entire spectrums and ecosystems. People don't even fucking know. People don't even fucking know. They don't even know the names. But they'll speak on it with authority. And then, people will then say, not saying that they were saying this, but there will be people who will then say, this is the case and that this person is brainwatted, despite the fact they don't even do the fucking research, because they don't even have opinions of their own, because they either got it from someone else or adopted it as a part of the dogma that comes from the cathedral that believes in it. Yeah, and then when you press them on it, they have nothing to say.
Just real quick, that's not a feminism issue, that's not a women issue. Everyone does this to some extent, and it's a problem across the spectrum. Yes. Right? But,
yes, I agree with you. Okay, that's not what he said. He said it's only women. He was looking for someone that he could blame it on and say, "Well, this is the average viewer of Asmongold. This is what they believe." And he doesn't even know what the average. There are some. Not all.
Talking about me?
There are some. Not all. Yes, you.
Yeah, the average Asmongold viewer believes women and feminism is ruining gaming. Yes, that's an easy give. Anybody who watches his shit knows that. Yeah.
And if they don't do their own fucking research, they're fucking retarded. And I would tell them to their face, they're fucking retarded. Just like I tell you to your face, you're fucking retarded. Because you don't do the research. You don't even know.
What research did I need to do that what am I retarded about? Give me my bad take.
You don't actually play fucking video games. You play a specific
claiming I don't play video games, or is this the quote that you're saying?
Well, what I should say is that the viewpoint that you have about video games is your specific view and niche. that you can't open it up to because you do not exist in the broader space where these conversations
What is
are
my
happening.
view in position on video games?
From your own words, you think that people are dumb and retarded if they only play one game because they shouldn't be allowed to control the industry. Are you sure? It's on your thought. Are you sure? It's on the stream.
Yeah, 100%. You can run it back because what I said was very clear. I said it's dumb and retarded when somebody plays one video game and tries to act like they can speak on the entire modern gaming landscape. And I'm pretty sure you agree with that because you tried to press me on not playing a very specific video game.
No, I was talking about a broad spectrum of video games. I gave you an example of a genre of video game. And then you started getting lost in the fucking weeds. And then when you didn't understand the point I was making, you tried to talk over me. You tried to talk over me and then acted like an asshole about it. Same way he said, oh, he's long-winded.
I've been talking over you. Okay, so let me just ask this question point blank. Do you think it is dumb for somebody to play one video game for 20 years and then act like they know the modern gaming landscape well enough to say women or feminism is ruining it?
Can you do it without adding women and feminism? Because I would say yes to it. But if you sit there and say, because women and feminism, I'm going to say, no, because there's going to be a caveat. You're going with a wide generalization spread and not actually addressing the problem that is the space. The space got fucking contaminated and ruined because no one's able to see out of fucking eye.
I'm asking
Carl,
you, is it...
all of us, but go ahead.
Okay, Carl, you would admit, though, if somebody only had experience really with one game, it would be hard for them to speak to the broader industry, right?
Or genre, yes.
Or genre.
Okay, that was my point. Is that Asmongold is over here trying to act like an authority on modern gaming when this dude pretty much doesn't really play video games anymore. He's played
and you did the exact same thing.
Huh?
And you did the exact same thing.
What?
By your own standards, by your own arguments, by your own explanations, you did the exact same thing. You quite literally did the same meme.
How?
Because you then decided to present yourself as the
mad at
authority.
Somebody for being elitist about video games? I'm elitist about video games?
Yes, you did literally the meme.
Okay, buddy. All right, I'm sure you.
Okay, buddy, it's okay. I understand. You don't understand. You don't know. It's completely irrelevant. It's out of your mind.
Understand.
I don't get. So number one, I do play a lot of modern video games. I literally do. And
Not
number
anymore
two,
on stream.
Yes,
has to be on stream.
Yeah, it has to be on my stream in order for it to come.
Considering that you're going to attack him for things that he does on stream, and he's able to do both while also talking about political shit, same way that Destiny does. Kind of, yeah, kind of, sort of.
I'm not.
I think Asmon was pretty vocal that he only plays WoW. Like he's like pretty open about that. It's not like a.
Yeah, he's not out here talking about. He's not out here talking about Ready or Not, Ball Pit. He talked about Mega Bonk for a bit. He's not out here talking about any of these other games that are really, really cool and interesting. And some of these things are pretty male dominated. He's not talking about these games. And especially while he's giving commentary about how like women are sieging male dominated games when we still have very, very, very male dominated games and clearly made for men. Like, is God of War made for women? Do you think God of War is made for women? Do you think it's been feminized?
Which one?
Ragnarok.
Which one?
Any of them. Literally any of them.
So you're agreeing that the original God of War games were not are written the exact same way and are made for the same audience as the reboot?
All of the God of War games are made for men. Yes.
Okay, sure, buddy.
Nah, it can't be. It can't be. Wait, I'm
right,
that's not race bait. That's not race bait.
I gotta agree.
That's not race bait. Nope, that's not race bait. There's no way. No shot. There's no shot that you can disagree with that. No, there's no shot you can disagree with that.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that, bro.
What if I give you a stat showed mostly men bought it? Would you believe us then?
I have
again, I didn't hear you.
What if I like a stat that showed like, oh, mostly men bought it? Would you like then be open to that?
Nothing that I've seen the numbers itself. If you try to say, well, men played it, therefore it's male oriented, there's a very clear difference between the way that the industry used to make games in the past that were for men versus how the current industry.
What's your evidence? What's your evidence to show the other way? That was made for women in mind.
Both of you. Stop. Both of you. All of you. I have a question for Carl. What do you look at when you want to see if a game is made for men or made for women? What are you looking for to show that a game is made for men versus a game that's being made for women? What's the metrics you look at?
Or made for an entire audience, or made for a specific audience.
Or made for neither. Sure, men, women, or neither. Yeah, what do you look at?
I go and I research the writer. I go and I research the developer group. I go and I look into what it is that they're trying to create. I look at the development process. I look at how it's developed from concept to feature complete. I then play it on camera. I give it a good play. I make sure that I buy my own copy, that I don't take a handout, and then I give my honest review of it. And if I can be able to find...
What are the metrics? That's what he's asking. Like, what are the specific points that would tell you whether or not it's made for women, made for men, or made for general audience?
What would you look for to
I was about to answer you, and then he interrupted me.
It didn't sound like it.
Yes, I was.
It really didn't sound like it. I'm sorry.
All right. It didn't sound like it either
So,
to me. Go ahead.
So I'm going to say it again. I go through all of those steps, and then while I'm playing it, I look for the fact of, can I suggest this game because it stands on its own? Is it very clear that it was written with a political agenda, or does it have politics in it that actually enhance the gameplay without it necessarily needing to proselytize to one group or another? If it is replayable outside of that, and if they go out of their way to show that it was not just a bait and switch, that they suggested one thing and they actually gave you another, while attempting to do some type of pander where they slam the original group and saying, this isn't for that kind of audience, or it isn't for this kind of audience. Those are the factors I look for, whether or not they are sincerely making a piece of art because they want to make a piece of art and not simply try and play the culture war.
Okay. Can I ask a pointed question? What part of God of War Ragnarok do you believe was not structured towards men and was structured towards women?
The writing of the game quite literally goes from the dude bro mentality of a murder fantasy of sex all the time with an angry Spartan warrior trying to do a revenge quest versus a game that is rewritten in such a design where it is meant to bring in a divine feminine embracement of male sexuality, masculinity, and what it means to be a man in a way that, for some people, they could claim is meant to pander towards, I guess, the emasculating men. I would disagree.
It's about fatherhood, bro. Did you even play the game? It's literally
Interrupting
about
me again.
a dude.
Interrupting me again. Interrupting me again.
You claim to be a journalist here, but you just...
Sure, he even said it's not even his opinion.
Like,
he said some people would argue.
You don't even fucking listen, bro. You don't even fucking listen.
You said it's a feminine archetype about a man going into this form of masculinity. It's about a dude going from, yes, a toxic form of masculinity and learning how to be a good father. How is that for women? How is that for women?
Because there is a viewpoint where there are people that would agree that they would rather have a proper
I'm asking
will.
you. Stop talking about other people. I'm talking to you. So stop talking about other people.
See, I tried to give you my opinion, but you interrupt me, so how am I able to talk to you?
Don't mention other people. What is your opinion? How is a story about a dude going from like grug, toxic masculinity, and then learning how to be a good father to his son, how is that for women? I want to hear
Because there was a very clear push where people attempted to say that this version is so much miles better than the original version, despite missing the fact that a lot of that circle comes full circle in God of War 3, because a lot of it was about him learning that he needed to start striving for peace rather than letting his vengeance blind him. And there are people, and I disagree with them highly, that they think that this is supposed to be a masculine... Shut up and listen! For Jesus Christ, my almighty! Shut up and listen! Open your fucking ears! Wait! Try to wait! Wait 1 second! There are
You
people.
should become succinct. Just try and give him one sentence.
When I try to answer and be succinct, you then interrupt me.
Wrong.
Not.
You're not succinct. You've never tried to be succinct. You have been born wordy.
I have tried to word it as short as I can, and he doesn't understand the context. So when I try to explain it, and then you get mad, I give you the context. Then you say, bro, you're too wordy. Bro, shut up. Try to think. Let people speak.
Everyone, please stop. Carl, finish your point, and then we'll respond to it. Go ahead.
There are people that would attempt to claim that this reimagined version of God of War, because it is the beginning of a new canonity, is supposed to be a dismissal of the evil, toxic, woke version that they believe the horribly sexist version of the past is supposed to represent. However, it is my opinion that the people that would claim this are missing the forest for the trees, because it is supposed to speak to a form of male discernment, where you need to center yourself. You need to think of that more than yourself and what you want, and actually try to put other people first, where it would indeed, in fact, be about fatherhood, which is a narrative through line that they had since the original God of War, that they adapted some of the plot from, especially with the plot of the last game. where it was literally the job of Pandora to remind him that his job was not to just be a vengeful person all the time, but to actually consider more than what he wanted, but what the world needed, because his vengeance was literally causing the end of the fucking world. Thus had to sacrifice himself, which then went into the adaptation of him eventually, as it was then fulfilled in the DLC, letting go and understanding and reimagining and accepting a version of himself that is able to be forgiving, that is able to be fatherly, that is able to be a god of peace instead of a god of war, by not being angry all the time. Something that he does indeed try to struggle with in the game, but most people missed it because they couldn't understand it. Because it comes from this viewpoint that there are people that believe that you cannot do that and be masculine at the same time. Period. Done.
$20 before anyone else responds. $20, because you can pay me money to say things. $20 from Adam Refriended to say, it's clear that intersectional feminism has seriously changed gaming. In the past 15 years, fake gamers and feminist voices in journalism and the industry have really shaken things up. Just wanted to put that out there. Thank you for the $20.
Thank you, Adam Friended.
Okay.
So,
how is that targeting women?
Because there are people that if they are not informed about what the actual game is about, they are going to think that it's about pig-headed bull men that fuck women all the time.
Is that a small percentage of people? Why do we care about like a small group of people that you don't even agree with them? Also, you just said like I don't agree with them. So why do we care about?
No, I don't. Because just like when Kimberler said, there are people who are missing out.
How does that reflect what the creators had in mind and that what they want it to be more for women? How does that lead to that?
Because, as Kimberler said from her 2019 stage presentation at GDC about opportunity and joy, when people do not engage in this content because they think that they can't be able to enjoy a viewpoint that doesn't reflect the white male-centric view, that they are losing twice. We lose because we can't be able to tell these new, interesting, diverse stories, and then we lose twice again because then the marketplace hears it and, like picky babies, say, well, that's not what we should give them. That didn't make a lot of money, so let's do this instead.
Isn't that Lorenz being a dumb bitch and not God of War doing fuck all?
Sure, but that's not what the journalists said in the industry, which people led with.
But the journalists don't make the game. The journalists don't make the game. And your main critique of the new God of War being for women is because people didn't understand the original trilogy. That's completely non sequitur.
That wasn't my argument. I didn't say that.
Well, we were asking you for your metric. Well, hold on. We were asking you for your metrics on whether or not a game is targeting men or women.
Well, just like anybody can say if something's targeting your group, you need to look at the overall message it's trying to send and how it was created with the
sure.
What's the word?
I don't know. Just real quick. Just real quick. For me though, and Carl, I have to disagree with you on this one.
Go ahead.
Having a game that during the story says how someone transitions from being a warrior to a father, that seems specifically targeted towards men.
Yeah.
How is that wrong?
Hold on. Can I add something onto that quick?
Go for it, I guess.
It's not even just the targeting of a warrior going to a father. It's a younger man going to an older man. So it plays directly into the trilogy because most of the people that played God of War, the original trilogy of God of War, despite the fact it was rated M, probably played it when they were in their early to late teens, and now they're playing the sequel and the follow-up when they are now full-grown adults, out of college, probably, hopefully, in their own households, and maybe even potentially now starting their journeys into fatherhood, going from their previous freedom-loving selves to now having this attachment to a family. That's what the new story is.
How is that about women?
Oh, it's not about women. There's no
I'm
argument.
Asking Carl. I'm asking Carl.
Asking
How's
Carl.
That about women?
I mean, Carl's never going to have a kid, so that's a hard story to relate to. That's a woman's thing. That's a woman's thing.
Say it again! Say it again! Say it again! Say it again! Holy shit!
Dox that white baby. Do not dox that white baby.
You went to tell me I don't know shit about fatherhood. You don't know anything about me. You're sending an ass.
He just went band for band on the childhood photo, bro, on the baby fic. You gotta cam up. You gotta beat him band for band, bro. You gotta show the baby fic, bro. Come on.
Wait, no, pause. Wait, no, pause. One. No. Somebody told me he's never known what it's like to be a father. Number one, why did you choose to go there? Number two, why did you try to lie and say, he went band for band? Of course the fuck I would go band for band. You aren't able to speak. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, the fuck I'm not. Because no father, no person who is responsible for somebody who's a child would fucking be calm about that. That is absolutely 100% a reason to fucking crash out. And the reason why it would be something that panders to women
for a second.
was something that somebody tried to accuse me of not being a father, so I went literally to go pull out the picture of my child.
Okay.
Let me get this back on track. So the question was,
I was answering a question.
Very fatherly. Okay, go ahead.
I was answering the question. The reason why it would be specific to women is because it is women trying to present a viewpoint of how men can approach fatherhood. As much as there could have been men on that writing staff that would have done it, they chose to do it from a leftist perspective. They didn't speak about the average person. They certainly didn't speak about like a right-of-center person or a left-of-center person or a centrist person. They decided to view it through a pipeline where the intention is, and if you disagree with this, you don't know what you're talking about, which is half the fucking problem. The fact that you would even attempt to attack me saying that I know nothing about fatherhood is exactly the point. Why it would be a problem? Because there are people that are not being spoken to, that don't have the ability to speak, because you're trying to take the fucking words out of their mouth, and you think you know about them, but you don't. That's half the problem.
Why do you say that when the lead director...
That comes from a political paradigm. That comes from a political paradigm. That literally comes from third and fourth feminism.
All right.
Why are we defending?
Calm down for a second. Do you think the game was designed, that the story arc was designed from a leftist perspective?
I don't think that the story was designed from a leftist perspective.
Well, then the game is not targeting leftists.
They went out. There are people who went out of their way to decide.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about your assessment.
Then you don't understand my point. Then you don't understand my point. Then you don't understand my point because it's the entire point I've been talking about.
So then your entire opinion of a game is dictated entirely upon what the game journos say about it.
No, it is not. I already told you that it's not.
Content.
No, it's not.
So you don't care about the. So you don't care about the game's content or the developers of the game. You don't care about the gameplay. You don't care about the game mechanics.
You are literally trying to fucking railroad me, and I'm not going to let you. You are trying to railroad me, and I'm not going to let you.
No, you literally just gave the argument that effectively your opinion is entirely based on what the game journals say about the game. That's
what it is not. You're trying to railroad me, and I'm not going to let you.
That is what it is panning out to be.
No, it is not, because you are quite literally missing the entire point from my opening statement.
But this whole thing started from Wick asking you how you would assess whether or not a game is targeting a particular audience. And this is what you came to as your answer.
Because this is exactly what they suggested when they wrote it, because it is a dominant position that those that are cultural Marxists will attempt to take control of a narrative about the game and how it should be interpreted. The same way somebody could say about Undertale, they could say about Deltarune, they could say about mouthwashing, that they could say about South of Midnight, that they could say about any particular game, because they speak first from a political viewpoint and then work backwards. No one said that it was based on what the journalist said. You decided to say that about me and put words in my mouth.
The journals can't heat check. Can I get one last heat check?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
And I'm gonna bail him the fuck out. Is Doom a game targeted towards men?
It's a game targeted towards everybody who wants to play a Doom shooter.
No.
Okay, that's...
We're done. We're done.
Games are designed for no one then.
We're done.
We can pack up the panel
here. We can
no one's allowed to play a game. Of course I'm in to play it, but there's also women to play it.
How you been, Prawn?
So you don't know what you're talking about. So you don't know what you're talking about. So you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have the ability to have the answer. Because half the reason I came. No. Half the reason why we came here is because half of the thing that you said in your speech was that why should somebody listen to you, Asmon, versus some feminists?
There will be order in this court. There will be order in this court.
Go ahead.
So the reason I think that people are reacting as they do, and thank you for the gift sub, Mr. Vite. I really appreciate you. Is Doom specifically, especially the later ones, right? The ones that the Doom Eternal, Doom 2016, all these, right?
Doom Eternal, Doom
all the later ones. They are specifically targeted towards male audiences. And the way we know that is by the aesthetics of the game, the music that is used in the game, the dialogue or lack thereof, and also what you do in the game, which is rip, tear. It epitomizes strength, might makes right type things. It is obviously a game that is targeted specifically towards male gamers. How am I wrong in my assessment?
No, I'm not saying that you're wrong and that I don't disagree with it. The problem that I'm going to then say is, but it's not what the original Classic Doom players want, and they've been very vocal about that.
What?
I mean,
don't go there. No, don't go here. Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
That's an entirely different topic.
He asked whether or not it's targeted at males.
Yes,
and you said it was targeted at everybody.
Yeah, because everybody can play a game because everybody can play a game and vote with a fucking wallet.
Targeted towards everybody.
Can you give me any game that women can't buy? They're not allowed to buy?
There are some people that have actually made it clear that if they go into a certain game, they will be bullied out of it. And men too. And
that's not what I said. Can you give me an example of a game women can't buy?
There are none that women can't buy.
He can't say it in public or else he'll buy it, okay? So he has to keep the secret.
You're right. It's a secret.
No.
I have like a very direct question for Carl. So you said that it was a lot of game journalists were using cultural Marxism and then working backwards as a way to explain things in games. Is that
yes?
Okay. So journalism and game development are both heavily based upon or careers based upon some kind of degree field, and anybody that goes to college is going to have, I would say, on average, more exposure to those types of ideals. So wouldn't it be fair to say, because the vast majority of game developers or games journalists go to college, more of them would be culturally Marxist or far left-leaning on average?
Repeat the question, please. I'm sorry. I got distracted by something.
Jews go to college.
Distracted by the dog.
That's not what he asked.
I love it.
What is the question?
Just so I can translate, maybe make it a little more brief, is that the argument is that most game developers and game journalists do go to college, and at college they are, on average, more likely to be exposed to Gramscian Marxist views, and therefore that translates into the games that they make and the reporting on the games that they do. Is that an accurate summary of what you just asked, Mr. Polar Bear?
Yes, I can agree with that.
Yes. And you agree with that. Okay, great. So you've answered the question. Good. Is there a follow-up?
Was there a follow-up?
No, there's not a follow-up. I just think that with that understanding, it's fair to say that a large majority of games made by developers who have gone through college and been exposed to more of those ideas would put those ideas into the games that they're making.
Yes, and it would also be the case that the same people that come from the other sphere of influence, or even from the apolitical sphere of influence, would do the exact same thing. There would be a fingerprint of their viewpoints or their worldviews in the games. There's no way to avoid that, just to avoid the all ours critical argument. But the basis is that they should be capable of telling a story despite their politics, something that people can be able to grasp because it is able to actually focus on the actual posing of the question and how it affects the world and how it affects the story and how that then leaves a message that you hold on to and carry on with, like something you can get from a JRPG. Versus, you have to go in with a political mindset that is individually dogmatic and has to be controlled with an intersectional viewpoint that has to blend into all things, where if you're not capable of answering a yes or no question, suddenly you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Just real quick, thank you for the gift sub, Parallax on Twitch. Really appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
So then wouldn't the major problem be that a lot of people that are now developing these games just don't know how to write a good story?
No.
Yes, it is all those things and more, but it's more commonly to give you some level of credit, which I guess is giving him credit, but he's not going to see the point. They will just be shit writers. But unfortunately, they start from the politics and work backwards, and then when people don't understand their story, they say you haven't read enough. You need to go educate yourself. And then when people do go read it, and they find out actually you got multiple things wrong about it, they then say, well, you know what the fuck you're talking about.
It sounds like you're struggling by bad games, bad writing.
I think most of us who play games pretty regularly, we don't respect those game journos in general. We know that they don't know what they're talking about. We know they're bullshit. We know they're normies that are just trying to cash in on the topic.
Or social weirdos, because most of them aren't normies. They are usually political diatribes.
Well, I mean, they're normies in our space, right? They're normies compared to gamers. And
sure, I could probably grant that to you.
So I never listen to them because every time I try and read what they say, I'm just like, this is not a good game review. This is coming from the perspective of someone who doesn't actually play games clearly, right? We all see through that shit.
Yeah.
So what I generally see is there's a pretty big mix in games out there right now. Sometimes you get some really good gems. But overall, one of the problems that we have, which you and Relly both agreed to, is this sort of corporatization and monopolization of the industry that's trying to cash in as much as they possibly can. So they minimize on the content and they try to get you to pay for DLCs and, do microtransactions and stuff to get you to buy more content and stuff like that. Yes. And it really has screwed up at least the AAA games industry. Whereas indie games are still going pretty strong. We have a lot of fun with those. I play more indie games than AAA these days by a long shot. But overall, I'd say the quality games are still out there. You just have to look harder for them. It's not like it used to be where there were just like a whole bunch of bangers coming out and you always knew about them. Now you got to dig a little bit more because the big name publishers have all been gobbled up by 3 companies, right? So yeah, and they're just putting out trash. So that means we got to go dig through for more of the gems that we find in indie stuff, right? Which doesn't get as much attention.
Just $5 from Trib1 to say feminism made you hate gaming. Sounds like the patriarchy can't even hold frame when women don't even want to be there. Anti-woke mobs stay losing, get wrecked. Thank you for the $5. And I know Ahrelevant wanted to say something. I'm going to give the mic to you.
I'm sorry. It's a little bit of a departure, but it's kind of on topic. If Doom and God of War are not games that are targeted towards men, can you give me an example of a game that is targeted towards men?
I didn't say that they weren't targeted towards men, but you're not going to listen to that anyways.
You were asked that question and you said no.
Okay. All right.
Here's something that
I would love to ask a question related to what Zonia said, if I could.
Go ahead.
And this is for Carl. I'm curious, do you hold any blame on the Andrew Wilsons, the CEO of Electronic Arts, or Bobby Kotick? I kind of put more responsibility on them for kind of ruining gaming and adding all the microtransactions. It seemed like they have a way bigger influence over the downfall of gaming than feminists online.
Unfortunately, because people don't understand it, because they don't actually do the fucking work, it is the case that there are more people that continue in the industry to listen to the games journalists because they have to go to some type of influencer that can actually break the veil and be able to deliver the opinions that can show what a normal person in the audience plays. It is still the case that even though people take them as a joke at large, the normies or whatever side, everybody could disagree or agree that the game journalists are not that big of a thing. I would say that everybody should agree. It is still the case that they have a lot of power in the industry, yet they are still losing that power. Because it is possible for a regular fucking chud to be able to give a review about something from fucking Seth, or even Asmon Gold, or maybe even from Ahrelevant if he has actual takes. Of something that demonstrates that you can actually pierce the veil and have a good take about a video game that is a good gem without having to reach for politics, to reach for gender war, to reach for culture war, and it just exists outside of that dialectic. But unfortunately, a lot of their ability to still hold relevance comes from trying to convince the shareholders and convince the number of people that it comes from them trying to reach for something that could be explained by politics, or more simply, recently could actually be explained by just pure, absolute capitalistic greed. Like the drama involving the creator of No Rest to the Wicked and the former Diablo lead for Blizzard, actively telling people that he doesn't have to work anymore because he's now into crypto shit, and that little buddy who still works for No Rest of the Wicked should focus, when he is responsible for the destruction of Diablo, Warcraft, Diablo 3, Diablo 4, Diablo Immortal, because he was the one that brought in King to make Activision Activision Blizzard King before they were acquired by Microsoft to try and turn out Diablo Immortal because they wanted to monetize them for as much money as fucking possible. Okay. And then they tried to explain, the reason why is because this, instead of the actual truth. And then it was revealed by the shareholder numbers, and then it was just accepted as a truth.
Okay, 500 bits from Parallax to say the only real complaint this guy has registered is some developers tried to make games to appeal to non-traditional gamers and they didn't succeed. I'm sorry for capitalism, ? Yeah.
It's more than capitalism. It's more than capitalism.
It really
I have a question to go back to earlier on in the debate. And I know it's a little bit of a derail. But
Sonia, do you mind if it's going to be a derail if I respond to the most recent bit on Carl? Because I just want us to be able to close this instead of getting back.
Go ahead.
When you say that it's not just capitalism, I don't think anybody wants to say that it's just capitalism, but we do recognize that with AAA, all of these individual motivators are coming from the fact that this is a big corporate entity where everybody sees it from their own personal advantage that they can take from that position. People want to get the financial backing for a project. That means that they have to get it from VC. They have to get it approved. That means that they're going to have some kind of argument, some kind of say for why this is not going to fail. You should definitely spend, we're talking millions, if not billions sometimes on some of these projects. Like, it's not capitalism.
Billions?
It's definitely all echoing forth from capitalism.
So, Carl, I feel like you're fighting alone here, and I want to come help you out real quick.
Hold on. He's just a...
Fight everybody as much as I need to.
I'm here. Listen, I'm here to help Carl. Hold on, Zonia. This will be quick. I'll be in and out. I promise.
Man, okay, go ahead.
So, first of all, Tuna, you sound like a bitch, so it makes sense that you're arguing for the win.
That was a bit rude.
Second of all, CJ, is that your name? CJ? How do I say your name, dog?
I'm guessing you're talking to me, C. Joanne or Joanne.
Okay, you play in Dragon Age the Veilguard right now. I know you don't have an opinion on this.
Got me.
Is that it?
Okay. I guess you got me with that one.
So, Carl, earlier on in the debate, because going back to the topic of like targeting audiences, you were talking about South of Midnight. You were talking about the games that were sort of trying to target specific demographics that were not part of the broader, more consistent gamer bases that we deal with. And one of the things that I figured I would just bring up here, there's a lot of people who want to make a game to sort of tell their story because it's a piece of art, right? There's an artistry to it. And they want to tell their story. And so the story comes from their perspective. And oftentimes it has a lot of components that deal with whatever it is that has to do with them intrinsically in their lives. And that may be very demographically relevant. Is that necessarily a problem if someone does that?
No, it is not a problem if they do it, but it would be a problem if they do it poorly in dog shit.
So if they do it poorly in dog shit, isn't that just them doing a shitty game, not ruining the game industry?
If they go out of their way to specifically say that they make this for you, and they insert certain things that have to have a cultural, religious, or ethno-religious status that you are supposed to relate to, and they not only get it wrong, but they get it abysmally, embarrassingly wrong, that people would complain about it, yes, that is actually more than just having made a shitty game. Because a person that then says that they're doing it to represent something would have the dedication and the respect to have made sure to do the proper research, to make sure to use the proper rites, the proper rituals, to refer to the proper historical or religious contexts, and not just say, I'm gonna pull something that looks like it's black related, or looks like it's Indian related, or looks like it's minority related, and just slap it on there and hope that not enough people that are knowledgeable complain about it and point it out and say, this is a failure that I do not approve of. I understand you tried to do something well, but next time do it better. And then don't turn around and say, the reason we're being criticized is because the white male gamer couldn't accept it. Because in the same vein of Kim Belair in her speech, she ignores the fact that there are plenty of games that could be played that you could describe as movie games. Would you agree it's something like South of Midnight or God of War Ragnarok would be a movie game?
Interactive stories is usually how we refer to them, right?
I would suppose most people say movie game. That's just the term that they use. It is the case that if you're going to make this type of game, and you're going to do so, that you then not forget that there have been thousands of games that have been made with, say, white male or white female or other ethnicity race protagonists that did not preclude somehow losing twice because they succeeded at doing something that they seem to keep missing the mark of because they are instead leading with scholastic cathedralism instead of just, this is what is good, and then we're going to build upon it. That was the end of the sentence.
Cathedralism. What is that?
Well, along with the cultural Marxism, because they lead with the politics
I know
and
what
with
cultural
the viewpoint.
Marxism is. I don't know what scholastic cathedralism is.
Well, you've heard of the political cathedral, right? People who exist inside of politics that effectively are
It's Mencius Moldbug. Mencius Moldbug. It comes originally from this old text talking about software development, famously about Linux, about whether something's a walled garden and there's a protected internal party class. There's this idea that there's an intellectual elite at the core of society that controls the ways that things happen, and that people in the outer party, people that are in the bazaar, are subject to the whims of those powerful elites.
Yes, that's correct. Notice how nobody interrupted him when he had context, and people have for me. Just noting that. You're correct.
Because his answer was succinct, and you just rambled. That's why we didn't.
No, I tried to give the succinct answer, and you interrupted me.
He says scholastic cathedralism. No one knows what that means.
It's a different term that means the exact same thing. So you are telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, but he knows what I'm talking about, which means I did know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so...
100% correct.
No. This is like an annoying meta where you...
Stop.
I want to get back to my question.
Stop.
Enough hate back and forth. Jesus Christ.
Stop. I want to get some of the new people on a chance to have their say. So we have.
Yeah, but he was answering my question, and he wasn't quite answering it. He was trying to finish it.
We don't have an hour. Okay, we got to go to some new people.
Someone pay him so we can have another hour.
No, I finished the answer to my question. No, before you interrupt me, I finished the answer to my question. I finished answering this question.
Okay, we want to go to Rubber Ducky guy. I'm sorry.
I wanted to have conversations, not fucking just big for clips.
Yeah. Rubber Ducky guy. C starts with a C. It's my stream.
Oh, Jawan?
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got for us?
Oof, honestly, now my brain is like falling over. Okay, so earlier we were
lock in, buddy.
Thank you. Earlier we were talking about how like people who are making these games, they went to university, discovering cultural Marxism, blah blah blah.
Okay.
Fuck me. I'm dead now. I just got blown up.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, we'll move on and maybe we'll get back to you.
Let me write my question.
Yeah, Kay, you're here. What do you got?
Yeah, I just think this is hella cringe. Just in general, gaming is obviously being like ruined by just a few bad writers, some bad trends, and greed from the studios to push out something consistently every year. A lot of the games like Assassin's Creed got bad when they were pushing every year. Same with Call of Duty when they switched to an every fucking year schedule. Completely dog shit, but like games are still good. It's just that the amount of content that's being pumped out there is a lot. So there's more games that are like competing with each other, and the AAA studios have to compete with indie games, and they're getting desperate and they're trying weird fucking shit. And it's kind of ass, but it's not because all of a sudden feminism came in and destroyed it, or that there's more women so that way it just ruined the whole gaming industry. It's that there's more shit out there and there's more competition, and some of it's bad, some of it's fucking good. And if you know where to look, you're going to find something you really like. Someone said that indie games are like ruling it right now. I agree. Almost every game I played in 2025 was an indie game. I mean, like Expedition 33. Look at that shit. It fucking rocks. And to say that it's not targeting men, it's just stupid. Yes, there's a whole market that still targets men. I mean, what was Battlefield? What was Chronos? What was Doom? What was like all of those type of games, that have been coming out?
That's we're targeting everybody.
$20.
I mean,
just real quick.
Anybody can play it, but obviously it's trying to target a male, like masculine fantasy. Let's not pretend that just because everyone can buy a game means that everyone's the audience of that game.
$20. Just real quick. $20 from Adam Refriended to say, Wick, my guy, I love the panel, but Carl's the only black voice. Solo. No deep southern drawl. Those clips hit like plain mayo on stale bread. Zero spice, zero soul. Bring the flavor, king. Get that money, Wick. I don't know. Irrelevant. I thought you were at least a little bit.
He's not. The camera is making me look like I'm darker than I actually am.
Oh yeah.
Or excuse me, the light.
Wait,
The
are you
light makes me
not
look darker
black?
than I
Why
am.
would you say that?
Because I'm caramel coated. My skin is much lighter than it looks on the camera. Because this fucking
But you are black, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I said. It's like, then it's still accurate.
Going band for band on light skinism. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Hey, somebody try to go band on fatherhood while insulting me, and
Okay, white
Get
baby.
over it. We're online.
But no, to Kay's point, I think women are just a scapegoat for the shit that's going on with the
100%. I agree.
the shit. Well, all right. It sounds like the problem's been solved. All right, Irrelevant wins.
Came into this chat and you're like, I disagree with this. I disagree with this. I disagree with this. I'm going to start an argument, and then you flip it.
I can't hear you. You're talking too fast. Slow down. I can't understand you. You're talking too fast. Slow down.
Overclock your brain, motherfucker.
You're the one that
I can't hear him because he speaks his microphone.
one that sat here this whole fucking time talking about like women in the state of gaming and doing the scapegoat.
I didn't say women in the state of gaming. I didn't say that women in the state of gaming. That's his fucking position. He tried to let me into a position where I supposedly believe that it has to be women and that all women everywhere are a fucking problem. In the tone of agreeing with Asmon Gold. I disagree slightly with Asmon Gold, but agree with slightly with Asmon Gold. Because it's caveats.
What is the topic that you came to talk about? Carl, what is the topic that you came to talk about?
Women ruining feminism, and I said in my opening statement, as I will have to repeat again, because I guess you don't fucking remember, I do not believe that Ahrelevant's position that women are feminists haven't ruined gaming is approaching reality for somebody who actually plays extremism, and that it's not all women or not all men and transgenders, but a specific group and archetype of people that are responsible for the problem, which means there's people who are using them as scapegoats. And I don't necessarily agree 100% with Asmon Gold's position.
Okay,
You're trying to walk me into agreeing 100% with his position.
Sure.
The entire time I've been giving context to explain that, and you've interrupted me, got in front of me, put words in my mouth, told me I don't know what I'm talking about, that I'm not a real man.
If I can't, here's the deal. Here's the skinny gang. Just real quick. If I can't get $100 in the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna end the panel. So if you guys wanted this content to continue, I don't do this shit for free. $100 and we'll keep going.
Didn't this all start with a tweet that Ahrelevant put out that you responded to? And it had to do
100%.
with
100%. And I told him, and I said this to him in his DMs.
And didn't this have to do with the contention about women ruining games?
If you try to put it on just solely women and feminists, you're just looking for a scapegoat to attack and say this motherfucker's pig-heading doesn't know what he's talking about. There's always going to be a caveat that there are people that are doing it, male, female, or transgender, or what fucking ever. If you think that it's just solely one, you're missing something. You're missing context and nuance. And if you want just a position to attack, so you don't have to feel bad about it, you're forgetting yourself. And you're part of the fucking problem.
Carl,
are you the person who DM'd me?
Reframe it.
Are you serious? Are you telling me you don't?
Are you the person who DM'd me under the name Caramel Cajun?
Correct.
You said to my tweet, there is no way you got tilted from, quote, games are usually male-oriented.
Yes.
Do you think that is at all what I was responding to?
You were quite literally responding in the clip section there, which is why I did the research to go look at your actual whole view. You were quite literally responding and saying in that clip, why should I listen to Asmon Gold as much as I should listen to the supposed crazy feminists? Both of you are cringe, and I dismiss both of you.
Well, the original tweet that Ahrelevant put out is, I will debate anyone who breathes air and believes women or feminists have ruined gaming like Asmon
That's the context of the text of the tweet, not within the fucking video. Are you serious?
That's what the challenge was.
So you didn't watch the actual video he posted as... Okay, whatever.
In the video, I don't contend the idea games are usually made for men.
You contend that quite literally nobody should listen to anyone because everyone is cringe.
Jesus Christ.
That's not even true.
Yes, you did. It's in the fucking clip from E20K.
So you're here to debate something entirely different then?
No, I'm not. I'm saying that there's caveats. Hi, Deb. I'm saying that there's fucking caveats.
So it's not all
What's
women.
going on?
I understand, right?
Hey,
It's
Deb.
not all feminists, but that a certain cadre of feminists and women as well as other people, have led to the degradation of the gaming industry. That's
industry and gaming space.
In
It's
gaming space.
three things. It's the people, it's the industry, it's the space.
Okay.
Yeah, Carl,
I have one question.
You pointed earlier to the idea that it's cultural Marxism. You've been referencing Moldbug. You've been pushing to this, like the entire point of the neo-reactionary position on
Not a
this
neo-reactionary.
structure. Well, whatever. Whether you are just making an homage to a neo-reactionary or not, I don't care about the label. The point
Then
is,
why use the label?
What?
Then why use the label?
Because that's who you were quoting. That's Mencius Moldbug. He is NRX. He is the part. I'm not going to go into this, man. This is a waste of time. We can move past the label then. If you don't identify, you don't identify with it. I'm not putting that noose around your neck. Now we're moving forward. All you're saying when you're pointing is pointing away from capital, away from the economic, away from the actual like power players in the system, and instead pointing it towards the individuals. And yes, they are corrupt. But why do you think that there are corrupt people trying to take advantage? It's because the corporate structure is itself attracting people that want to take advantage. It's not an art place, it's a factory. Everybody sees that. That's why indie games are doing better. That's why, by the way, $1 million games are being called indie right now, because what we actually mean when we say AAA is bloated slop.
Correct.
But that's who works there.
Just real quick. So we got 5 gifted tier 1 subs from Chrissy. Thank you. We have $5 from Machekio to say, I was saving for a poor dancer, just trying to pay for school, but sucks for her. Then we got $10 from AKA Batozai to say, what are we paying $100 for? I was behind to keep the panel going. And then we have $2 from the Trib 1 to say, this is a $100 dono. Just trust me, bro. W Trump. Thank you for the $2. But we're at $50. 50 more dollars, and we keep going. We can do it, gang. You're halfway there. Keep going. Anyway, go.
Well, Carl, how do you speak to this idea that it's all about the individuals and their beliefs and their ideology when they're being attracted to these large corporations because they have money and opportunity? Like, they would not be there if it wasn't for capital, if it wasn't for this bloated apparatus.
Well, can I give context, or do you just want a straight up answer with no context that you'll then say, no, that's not the case?
Give the answer and then maybe give some context after. Whatever you want.
The industry got corrupted starting in 2014, technically before in 2012, then metastasized in 2014, then got to a bloat where it overplayed its hand and got way too big to fail in 2019, then burst like a fucking bubble in 2020, and has been trying to recover the position since, blaming anybody they can as a scapegoat, including men, including women, including anybody they could, to ignore the fact that there are people that are either CEOs.
Okay, just real quick, $50 from Jawan Cruz. Thank you for the $50. $5 more from Adam Friended to say, hey, Dev, just say something stupid like you usually do so folks will actually spend money to debate you. And, gang, if you are in the open panel and you have cameras, turn them on, please, for the content. Thank you, Ice Beans. Thank you, Stormwolf. And I appreciate
What happened in 2012? What happened in
Well,
2012?
The beginning of Greg's the start of Gamergate.
World ended.
The world
But
ended.
I want to say, what do you think was the specific action that not just say Gamergate? What is the beginning?
Oh, and thank you for the tier 3 sub, Certus. Anyway, go ahead, please.
Leah Alexander and her group of journalists that started the Whisper Network that actively told companies and told the business, ignore the customers, we will tell you what sells, because we know ball. Do you disagree with that?
Okay. I have a rebuttal that's also the one question I came here for. Does marketing even exist, or would you concede that like gay porn is targeted to everybody as well? Like, I don't understand. It seems like you're completely devoid of the idea that marketing research and then like marketing results.
Marketing exists.
Then why can't we say that some games are made for some people?
Because that is exactly what the marketplace asked for from the hand of the journalist. Everybody has to be a fucking blind subject line that has to be filled as a blank slate, rather than them being demographic.
Wait, single player Carl, what's your argument? And I see, like, Eldros is saying that like marketing exists, and that's why games are being made for women, right? That makes sense, right?
Yeah, but before you go too far, Dev, I know Dev only has a short time. I want to hear from Ice Beans too. Dev, what is your take here? I don't mean to cut you off, Stormwolf, but we'll get into it.
No, you're all good.
Yeah,
All good.
Dev, what are your thoughts here on?
Well, I haven't had a chance to watch the whole panel yet. I don't know exactly what you guys have covered over the past 3
Well,
hours.
let me just ask you directly. Do you think feminism has ruined gaming?
In part, but not in whole. I think
Make
there's
your
definitely
argument.
like some studios, or there are some games where you can point out like, hey, maybe for example, a good example that I personally have is there was the Saints Row reboot that came out in 2023 or something, and I had an opportunity to interview a guy who actually worked on it for my channel. And I asked him, like, hey, everyone knows this game is a fucking trash fire. It's not appealing to anyone who actually liked the original Saints Row. What happened in the development of this game? And he said, well, the CEOs just wanted money. They were motivated entirely by profit, but they were also out of touch. They didn't know what gamers wanted. And there was a bunch of mid-level people who were millennials, kind of left-leaning. They were whispering in the ears of the CEOs saying, hey, you know what? You should bring on some of these consultants to do to like write the game. And the writing was absolute shit. But it wasn't just that it was shit. It was bad, but it was also definitely because I don't know if you guys have played Saints Row, but it's a very edgy kind of game, right? Like there's a lot of sexual content, there's a lot of violent content in it, and they kind of took a lot of that content out of the game. And it was basically due to, hey, let's make this game a bit more safer so that more people can enjoy it, that sort of thing. And there's like a quality conversation which is separate from feminism and like leftism more broadly, but then there's also a political conversation where you definitely have some people, not all, I'm not even going to say it's the majority of them, but there are some people in the gaming industry who definitely, they come into projects and they view them as a vehicle to talk about specific political views in detriment to the actual project itself. And that's why a lot of games, not a lot, some games are shit, basically. That's part of it. And it's not all of it, but it's part of it.
Yes, and hold on. Let me say something. That was the case of why I've been referring to clips, because there are more clips I could pull from his stream. He reacted and listens to exactly. I forget exactly what defense group it was, or the name of that person. Dev, you would probably remember better than I could. But he watched the person that was on the video that was part of the reaction from Asmon Gold.
We're talking
that was on the
We're
Joe
referring
Rogan.
specifically to Ahrelevant here.
Yes, on a relevant. No, yes, on a relevant stream. There was a specific person, I forget the name of him, but he was a part of a defense firm, and he was having a talk that was reviewed in that content from Asmon Gold, that he listened to the entire part of it, explaining exactly what you described. He watched that 100%. And he and his audience said, oh, this is just dumb, gay, cringe, incel shit. This isn't real. This doesn't happen in the industry. You said that 100% verbatim. I can go find it right now on the timestamp.
You do that because... If, as I recall, are you referring to the guy who was talking to Joe Rogan?
Correct.
Yeah, in that interview, he was saying that it led to the decline in modern gaming. That we're having a decline in modern gaming. That's not true.
The industry does, in fact, work the exact same way that the business elite do. They work one in tandem.
What is this guy saying?
No.
Right
now, hold on. Yeah, before we go down the loop that you've been stuck in. Okay, I actually want to.
That's not a loop. I promise you, it's not a loop. He just doesn't know context, or pretends to not remember. But it's okay. I'll get the clip.
I've been listening to this for over an hour. It's a loop. Okay, like
sure.
What I'm interested in to kind of bounce off of what Dev was saying, right? Because I'll take it that that's been happening. I can think of a very an example that I would think that this has sort of happened to, or where the companies have decided to go along in that certain direction, would be Railguard, right? But my question to you is, because despite everything, and I watched, I'll be that stereotypical person and say that I watched my husband play this, and my husband is like about as anti-woke as you can get, while still being married to a sort of lib progressive person. And he also said, okay, yeah, there were some parts of it that were pretty cringe, but then here's the parts of Railguard that really developed on the whole Dragon Age, that concept that here's what they did good. It's not just that the writing is cringe. It did get better like later on into the game. So there's still elements there that are redeemable, right? So my question to you is, why you yourself acknowledged earlier that like, okay, yeah, it's like some people are coming in and making this shitty. Don't you think that that's expected when you have more, like if you have more games, you have some people who are coming in and trying to make it woke or something? Isn't that to be expected? Wouldn't you want people to vote with their dollar and vote for games that incorporate those ideas well? Like,
Yeah, and
for
go
me,
ahead.
it's very easy. I wouldn't support, like, if Dragon Age put out another, if they put out another Dragon Age game that basically continued along the whole woke line, like instead of refining it, I wouldn't buy another Dragon Age game. It's very simple.
Exactly. That's what you should do.
Okay, but no, but you said that earlier, but then it seems like you're also saying the very presence of that that direction is the problem.
No, I
That
would disagree with
you're
it. That
giving.
would be someone putting words in my mouth and then saying that I said that. I'll let you finish. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I just think maybe I'll have to go and look at something specific that you've said. I'm just surprised that you. I think it's the whole attitude that you have. Like, to me, this is very expected. I feel like everything that we're seeing is expected. Obviously, people are going with shows, with books, with any kind of media. This is what you're going to expect to see. People are going to put out cringe, like, and some of it's going to work and some of it's not. So I don't understand why, like, the presence of some cringe iterations of it make the whole idea bad. I think that's what I'm kind of getting from you. That is the position you're taking, no?
No. The presence of games that are bad is not the preclusion and the inclusion of every single point I'm making. The point that I am making is that there is clear heads of the industry that are locked into a current perspective, like IO Entertainment, that are trying to remake the James Bond games, that they are very clearly going in a modernized direction where they are going to, as their first game is literally the stories that happened before James Bond became the 00 status he has, that they're going to try to make him and turn him from the direction of the historical Ian Fleming, what's the word I'm looking for? The Ian Fleming presentations that have
The
been
novels, yeah.
The character,
that have been
yeah,
done
from
on
the
screen.
novels, yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah.
They're basically going to go, and people have joked about calling a James Bond Jr. directive, where he's not supposed to become this male chauvinist that does the job and gets the job done, but instead he's going to be this lighter, modern take. There is a problem where the industry follows the leader. And the problem is not that you have case examples of this happening, because obviously people should vote with their wallet and it should die. That's what they did to Forspoken. That's what they did to the Saints Row reboot. That's what they did to Concord. That's what they're more likely going to do to the Marathon. And what they're also going to do to Splitgate 2. Which, a game made for males, immediately died because the males didn't want to play it. But that's whatever. The problem is that because the industry has this need to talk to, quote, industry professionals, people that are supposed to be trusted, that are a part of the cathedral, they ignore the modern person, the modern average guy, the modern average chud, the modern average leftist, and they speak inherently to this person that lives inside of this nature of political aggrandization and apologia, where they will blame it on anyone and anything. And the problem is that that kind of social rot, which happened long before and has been building since, is causing a destruction of the industry, where it is on its track to go to another reset. And it's not a problem if people do that, because what you're supposed to do in response to that is you effectively build a parallel society, where you separate yourself from the people who clearly do not know ball, don't know your opinions, don't want to know your opinions, will say that you're crazy and cringe if you point out obvious things that anybody can fucking recognize, like a bell curve, and you simply play the games that you want. And you do that, and you share those with people, and end up building a space that is a part of that conversation. Very similar to YouTube content creators. People that can all watch something like, say, if you watch the recent Stranger Things finale, they will have viewpoints and opinions, and they will then come up with explanations for the reason why people react very poorly to them. And they will put it on some type of scapegoat. And the industry, believing and not wanting to just listen to the people that are the customers with money, but instead either the CEOs or worse, shareholders that are dependent on making a dollar over a dime at the failure and at the risk and cost of the consumer, effectively cause more of the further collapse and the rot. It's like an infection. It spreads from company to company.
Sorry,
I want to give it to Storm Wolf.
yeah,
I want to give it to Storm
I
Wolf.
just
I'll give Stormwolf,
I just
'cause
have one follow-up question.
One follow-up, then Stormwolf's got it.
Okay. I'm sorry. No, I really just want to know. Do you think that? Do you really think that like people voting with their wallet is not a sufficient like response?
I
Like,
literally
if
disagree with you. Yes, it is an efficient response.
No. Okay, so then why do you think that it's an infection if there is a solution?
Because they are going to try to drag the industry down with it as a means to try to spite the customer. Because the people that are inside of the industry, the people that are inside,
I see.
yes, the people
Like
that are inside.
you think it's okay. I understand now. You are fully committed to the idea that this is like a direction that people are dragging, kicking and screaming, like the entire market.
Yes, there are people that are doing it. It is not the entire industry.
Nothing else.
I mean, okay, wait. So I just want to like.
Hold on.
I mean,
I just want to like make sure I understand the
Hold
position.
on, Dev, then Stormwolf.
Create an order. Create an order.
Yeah, I did.
So
Make a line.
So
And then me.
Carl, maybe you're overstating your case, Carl, but I do know that there's definitely instances where this has happened, and it's not quite related to gaming. But there's one that I have on hand because I was looking into it yesterday, and it's in the anime dubbing space, where you occasionally you get like Crunchyroll or these other services that they're dubbing anime. They know they're dubbing them inaccurately. They're inserting little political references that don't really belong in that show because the original didn't have it. And then when they're asked about it, they say, "Yeah, we don't actually care if people don't want to watch our show. It's more important for us to actually put this stuff in." And you can tell by the way some of these writers are talking, these translators, they're doing it out of spite. There's like a hatred of their own audience in there that is really toxic. However, all that being said, I do think that the industry is going through a natural course correction because, these people exist in these companies and they're doing this stuff, but these companies are losing money. Like, these games are fucking flopping. No one's playing these games, and it's probably going to be a painful like next 5 years or so. But there is a reorientation happening right now. Like, I don't have this doomer view of the future of game. I think it's actually pretty bright.
Neither do I. I don't have a doomer view.
I want to hear from Stormwolf.
I just want to make sure I understand the position correctly before I like kind of go further. So your position, Carl, is basically that like a lot of these elites in the industry have this kind of, I guess for lack of a better word, woke ideology, and they're inputting in their game. And even if the game political polarization, you said?
Yes.
Okay. And then because they want to put on the game, even if the game's doing bad, they're willing to tank the industry and make worse and worse game and keep making bad games. And then basically they're willing to do that until the industry collapses or there's some kind of reset, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess my question is like, what incentives? I feel like, would you agree that companies exist primarily to make money? Primarily,
they
right?
exist primarily to make money.
What if I understand we have like select instances, but maybe I'm just incredibly skeptical. I'm very shocked that like most games are willing to like just completely industries are willing to completely demolish their entire bottom line just for some political ideology, right? And I always question this. I'm always questioning where the prompt of this was feminism has ruined the gaming industry, right? I'm always curious. I don't know. Do you think the games are bad because they're playing feminism, or do you think they just don't care about good games? Because I don't know why like wokeness or feminism means you can't have a good game, right?
I never said that you couldn't have politics and have political themes that didn't make a good game. I never said that. So nowhere in the podcast, nowhere in the debate or in the follow-up did I ever say that was the case.
Sure, but then I guess my question is, it doesn't seem make sense to blame this on feminism. It seems like we're just making bad games, and that game studios aren't caring because their bottom line isn't being hurt. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm not as familiar with the makeup of game studios, but I know when you look at like other film industries, like a huge criticism level against a lot of different industries right now is that like we're only making what conservatives often say is like woke movies, but like the truth of the matter is film industries are just putting out remakes because they know and they don't have to make good quality remakes. They can just put out wherever they want because their bottom line is fine because people keep going to see these movies, right? That's why original movies have stopped being made. And you can even look at the Marvel movies or like Star Wars, which have become so oversaturated and so annoyed that people are just kind of like completely ignoring it.
Was that the end of your statement?
Sorry, so I guess my point is, it seems like it's not a matter of like wokeness that's the issue here. It's just like lack of care quality because they know people are still going to come in and play the games.
I never said that it was just feminism and wokeness, but I mean that's far gone. We just have to accept that that's what people believe, and that they're stuck in a position about that. But that's whatever. Not putting that on you.
But my point is, I don't know if it's an ideological issue that's causing like the decline of gaming. It could potentially just be that like there's been bad games. Also, I feel like we're still seeing like as much as there are bad games and issues with games.
Can we just start with a question this is to everyone, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is gaming on the decline?
That was what I was about to bring up. That's what I was about to bring up.
No.
We've seen brilliant games
think
like
so in a lot of ways. Yeah, in some ways.
Well, I was
yeah.
gonna say like to some ways, sure, but we've seen like Expedition 33 is really good. We see like
Just
new
define
games coming out.
decline. Just define decline. That's the disagreement here.
Quality
like
is
business
getting
model
worse,
has
budgets
changed
are
a
getting
lot for
bigger.
negative.
The numerical number of good games is higher every single year than in the past.
Well, sure, but also
So
the number
you're
of
just-
thinkers is higher every year. They're just more games in general, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
and
but
so it is better.
nonetheless,
It's a better time to be a person who plays a video game because I can go online and I have a higher chance of getting a new game that I like and a game that
Sounds
is
like
tailored to me.
sounds like
because
we
there's
all
more
agree.
games being made.
AAA gaming has declined. Do we all agree with that pretty much?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Especially online. Especially online gaming.
I think they're on the
to
comeback
be-
though. They're going to be on the comeback. So
To be
Yeah, they're losing
specific-
too much money to not be.
To be specific on this, like when we're okay, because I want to, Carl, when you talk about the bazaar versus the cathedral,
And I know Sonia
we
wanted to
wanna-
go,
I
so
wanna
after
bring-
you,
I'm not going
Sonia's
to try
gonna
and
go,
bring it.
okay.
Say it again.
After you, Zonia, because Zonia's been one.
Okay. When you talk about this, I want to like think about what this analogy was really about and why we're talking about it. That's an analogy that came from software, went through politics. We're now applying it to a different type of software. It is all about VC pumping money, making products for the sake of products. That's why everybody's able to like inject all of this individual stuff in. It's because it's not art anymore. A lot of the indie games are doing great because everybody that is working on the game believes in the game. They're sacrificing their life for the game versus people sacrificing the game for their life. But that is when anybody on the other side of the fence from you, Carl and Dev primarily, what we're saying is we think you're missing the forest for the trees. We're saying that there's a corruption that happens when it becomes a capitalistic product, a venture that's about making money. And then everybody individually is not there for passion. They're attracted to the money. And then while you're making the money, you have to find some way to build legacy, some way to express your own individual beliefs. And that's why you're injecting all this, bullshit slop that has very little to do with the property, very little to do with the story in the world. Like, it all does start from the fact that these companies are massive magnets for people that don't want to make art. They just want to make cash.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean,
why talk about the identity of the people doing it? They all share one identity: grifter, psychopath, idiot.
Okay. I don't know, but
I was
going
gonna say Grifter.
These are like two related problems. Yes, they're different problems, but they are related problems. And the example that I've been using recently when I've talked about this is if you look at Star Wars, like Star Wars Outlaws or the new Star Wars movies, whatever. That is the ultimate example of art by committee. There's no actual artistic vision when it comes to Star Wars. It's just Disney making money. It is the facsimile of Star Wars with nothing else happening in it. There's no like morals or themes. It's just bullshit.
What
right?
about
However,
Andor?
Andor's
the one exception.
Andor's the exception.
Dev is largely right.
I could
Dev is largely right
accept
there.
that it's an exception, but you were talking about Star Wars, and I was really
Well, I said Star Wars.
very recent.
I think Dev is largely right. I mean, we look at like stuff like the Acolyte, we look at stuff like the Kenobi series, it's really bad. Ahsoka is really bad. He's right. As a large part, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, so what's the difference? Andor was left on its own.
It's how many people are involved in the team. Movies have
Andor
bigger teams than animated. That's
also
that's
Andor.
a big
I
part
think
of it.
the director received a lot of like independence from the big studio in many ways, and had a lot more like leeway to work with, and wasn't tied as much to other characters. Because a lot of the reason why a lot of this other stuff has been really bad is they keep torching other characters and then creating contrivance on contrivance, and there's a lack of care in storytelling.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I add on to something?
Here's a second part to this though, because the first part is the art by committee that we just went over. The second part is that you have games that. Like I think a great example of this is Dustborn. Dustborn is not art by committee. Dustborn is the opposite of art by committee. It is made by a small team of indie developers. They made an absolutely shit game, but it's very clearly their vision, right? It's just their vision sucked. So these are like two different things, and there's going to be some political conversations in here. There's going to be some capitalist conversations in here. These are like there's like a Venn diagram where like it kind of overlaps, where these are two separate but related conversations. And and by the way, just to be clear, there's absolutely incredible leftist games out there. Like Disco Elysium is one of the best games I've ever played. It's explicitly a leftist game. Like I'm not like an insane anti-woke person or something.
Neither am I.
Okay.
Sonya.
$10 from the Trib One to say, I'm the weirdo who thinks games today are less woke relative to era compared to like the early 2000s or 2010s. It's just outrage for just one woke game gets blasted to hell because of the internet and rage bait culture. And then $5 from my listening library to say, next debate. Will you buy a $5,000 GPU? If not, is gaming over? I mainly platform and stream deck play. What are everyone's options on stream machines? And we're going to give it to Zonia first because Zonia's been waiting.
You're asking me that question?
Whatever
what
you
are
want to
people...
say. Right? You don't have
Yeah,
to.
I don't
Opinions
really
on
want to
Steam
answer that
machines
one.
also, for what it's worth. Opinions, not options.
My what I was going to say, I was going to kind of say what you were going to say, Tuna Chip, was that like the big problem it seems that that you, Carl, and even you, Deb, have are really the grifters that hop on to a big industry to make money off of it, who aren't really all that committed to the culture of it themselves, and try to spin their own webs in it and make it as much money as they can. They don't really have the ability to tap into the culture. They don't understand what the players want, but they want to squeeze every nickel and dime they can out of it. And they end up being a bit of a detraction from the culture of the community. And I think inevitably they end up kind of, at least in the gaming sphere, they kind of end up dying off because people don't like the games and lose faith in them and stop buying them. And so there's a natural inoculant in the industry or in the community over time. And so they're not going to persist long term, I don't think. But it's still early in the phase, so it's going to take some time to see them weeded out through people using the power of their own money to not buy the games. So I don't think it's as big of a deal as you might be making it out to be, or maybe you're not making it that big of a deal. And it's just sort of your bag you're making off of, talking about it. But there are other things. Like I've got my gripes about modern games that are completely separate from this. Maybe this is something everybody in here will agree with, especially for the older gamers. But one of my big gripes of modern games is all the hand holding that modern games do for you and the long tutorial modes and shit. And I'm just like, just give me like an old school games where you just jump in and figure it out, right? I love that about older games, and I often go back to older games for not just for the nostalgia, but for that like early feeling of like figure it out, just throw me into it and I'll figure it out. Modern games want to handhold the hell out of you to get you going because they want to try and get as many people playing it as possible. So they want to make it as low bar to entry as possible. Maybe people have recognized that in modern games, right? And that's
another one of those official design by committee things, because all of those changes to the first hour or 2 hours of the game do come directly from putting people in a room with a controller and seeing how long they can play before they get confused. And, they're putting people in these seats that shouldn't be in these seats. They're putting people that don't play the genre. They're not familiar with the sort of ergonomics of like you shouldn't have someone who's never played StarCraft test out your 4X game. Like, don't do that.
I also feel like I wish there was like options for like how much handholding you want. I feel like it's just such an easy thing to add. Or like, hey, do you want this or not? I feel like it's such an easy thing to add, and I don't know why more games don't add it instead of the annoying like tutorial, like we were saying, phases.
Can I try to link this
modern tutorial modes and
also
shit that they throw you through?
There are like 3 reasons why it doesn't happen.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and bail out, but I do want to say something that I feel like.
Go ahead. Last words from Ahrelevant.
Maybe we're all gonna agree with. At the end of the day, okay. At the end of the fucking day, it's our fault, okay? Because the only reason these companies do anything is because we buy those fucking games, okay? Call of Duty should have stopped after Black Ops 2, but you bought Black Ops 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What are you doing, dude? You should have stopped after 2, but we keep buying it. It's our fault. The buck stops with us because the money stops, they stop. That's what it is. Okay, much love.
The money stops, they stop, and that's true for my panel as well. But thanks, Ahrelevant. Really appreciate you, brother, and I'll talk to you later.
Much love.
Yeah, I actually stopped at Black Ops 2. That was the last one I bought.
Agree.
Anyways, I'm going to drop off too.
It was good.
Sorry, just
I'm going to
just
drop
kind
off
of
too. So you all take
Yeah,
care.
see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, Zonia. Just to kind of piggyback off of Zonia's point, that's kind of where I'm at as well. I mean, there, and somebody mentioned this in chat as well. There's just too many games for me to, pursue. Like if I really enjoyed, I played the original Dragon Age game over and over and over again, but there's really I have too much of a backlog to worry about if like the next game will be better. Like if it's better and I see good reviews, then I'll go for it. If not, no skin off of my back. There's so many fucking games out now. I'm literally playing on a machine that allows me to play all of my Steam games and tap into my husband's PS5 and all this shit. Like it's just for me, in answer to that question, I think it's never been a better time for gamers. So worrying about a direction that people are pulling us in, I honestly think the market's like, I'm gonna figure that out, right? I'm not gonna support I'm not gonna support a game if I don't think that it's done the woke correctly. Because I also want to see it done. I also want to see it done correctly. I don't want it to be done where you're shoehorning things when they don't belong. And I like woke stuff. So yeah.
Based.
There is something happening there, though. We can say it's the best era for gamers because we have the sheer quantity, but there is another issue going on, which is that what's going on with your backlog? Why do you have a backlog? We have a market that is now more about selling the act of purchasing a game than selling the actual product itself. People know who are selling and marketing the game, and gamers themselves know, but lie to themselves while they buy it, that a lot of the games you're buying, they just need to convince you to get to the fucking PayPal button and hit approve. That's the other issue here, and where a lot of this this front-facing aesthetics of novelty. Oh, they really made a game about how women have it hard. Like that's all about making you hit the button. It's not about, so if you're complaining about the gameplay is bad, the gameplay is bad, the gameplay is bad, it's because everybody's buying games they don't play, letting them rot in their Steam library. Eventually, I'll definitely get back to it. $6,000 of unplayed games later. Oh my God, the thing that...
Shut up. Shut up. I feel myself in this rant, and shut up.
I actually disagree with Tuna here. I think it's a great thing. I think the reason we have a backlog is because so many good games are being made by so many talented people, and it's never been like more easy to come out there and make a fucking good game with the tools that we have out there, that you have a backlog because you found so much shit you liked that you fucking bought it, and you just don't have all the time in the world because you're working so hard. You know, like you just you don't have the time.
So much stuff that I've been convinced I will like, and none of the time to actually engage with it.
I think that's more of a traditional capitalism thing, though.
$5. Speaking of capitalism, $5 from Alishness. Nintendo is doing just fine as an all-inclusive company with little to no sexualization, unless you find a middle-aged plumber or a gorilla hot. Okay.
Bayonetta 3, liar.
That's
Bayonetta 3, liar.
That's mostly because Nintendo is mostly because Nintendo is separate from the entire industry from everyone else, to the point that they are people who don't report numbers to Circana like that, because the culture of Japan is very different about that. And ultimately, you have to say with me, my body is a machine that turns 90% off to 0 to 300 hours played, and there is no middle line in between. That's technically
I really want to. The whole gaming industry is decentralized, so I don't know about like Protector or what, but it's so decentralized at this point that every like game I see now is from a studio I've never fucking heard of, and it fucking rocks. And it usually rocks my socks off, and I'm like, when's the next fucking game coming out? I mean, the gaming right now is the #1 entertainment consumption. Like that, we like, you know, a lot of people are like getting on that, and those tools have been so the fact that like Unreal Engine is free and you can just fucking use it, and it's so fucking easy. like Godot is pretty good as well, and it's only getting better every single update, and it's open source. Absolutely fantastic. I just think that people want to pump out games, and with triple A's, it's a problem that you have to compete with like a studio like the people that made Team Cherry, who made Hollow Knight. 3 people. They're doing all this stuff, and they're finding themselves having to compete with it. They're over bloated. They don't have vision, and when you don't have vision, what do? You tag yourself to whatever's trendy. Wokeism was the trendy thing, so now your mind associates wokeism with bad game instead of lack of vision equals bad game. Nobody freaked out when Sergeant Johnson was black in Halo. Nobody cared when Shell was a woman in Portal. All right, it's about performatism being tied to these slop games that AAA is putting out because they have to compete with like people with actual vision out there because it's easier than ever before.
Just real quick, $2 from Trib One to say Street Fighter 33 isn't on your radar. What are you doing? Then you can add to it, and then I have something to say. So add to it, and then I have something to say.
Yeah. I think with the AAAs, we're kind of like screwed over because I feel like there's kind of a paradox where they're so big and games are so expensive. Like they kind of have to market to everyone to really be successful. I feel like there's some exceptions with like GTA, but I feel like with all those big AAA games, one of the reasons like they're so milquetoast or done by communities because the marketing team or even before that is like they're really trying to target everyone, which usually ends up being a pretty bad game.
Yeah,
Crib One, $2 says if Mario's Return Part 12 doesn't make you smile. Okay.
Yeah, I think Kay hit like the nail on the head there with like we were talking about Star Wars earlier. I think it's the same thing with games. Like it's an issue of lack of vision. I feel like you said, it's not really an issue with like the wokeism. It's just about like poor planning and kind of like them trying to make money. And because these games are also really big and have so much advertisement, whatever, they tend to make money, so they can kind of coast. I feel like I'll say the men in my life are the worst planners I know. Okay,
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead with Wick on that one. I can say I am a horrible planner because I have pile of shame literally stacked like over here.
Warhammer stuff.
Well, Warhammer and BattleTech for me now, but I wanted to kind of bounce on the whole Disney thing.
Yeah, before you do, $5 from Alishness to say that just saying the real gamers, aka the speedrunning community, are some of the most woke, inclusive community out there. Games done quick are sweats. Okay, go ahead.
Not really.
We actually have a perfect parallel for what many people would call one of the golden trilogies in gaming, which was Halo, and the Halo TV show that Paramount released. Originally, when they announced the Paramount Halo show, there was a few race swaps of characters and everyone made a huge deal. In reality, nobody should have been making a huge deal about that because the entire story of the first season was so awful. Me, someone who's read every Halo novel, played every game, couldn't get past the 4th episode. And they had to cancel it after 2 seasons. Halo is a TV show that could have made as much money, if not more, than the Stargate universe from, the Sci-Fi Channel of old, because it's just an intellectual property that's strong. And to look at a parallel of a game that went too far down what many people would call the woke slop or just the slop rabbit hole is Gears of War. You had Gears of War Judgment, Gears of War 4, and Gears of War 5, which were panned as horrible games. And then you now we're on the verge of Gears of War E-Day, which is, people are saying, is a almost true return to what the original series was. So I think for every franchise we have, or every new game we have that comes out that's pushing towards the more slop or the more, this is a game meant for like mass consumption, as we saw with the last game they revealed at the end of the Game Awards, you're going to have 4 or 5 other games that are refinding their identity, or games that are launching with a new identity that more people will connect with.
Okay. Remember when Mass Effect was... Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Gang, I am hungry, and it's almost time for me to eat, so I'm going to end the stream really soon. But before we go, a couple things. One, not only should you be playing games, but you should be reading books. Okay, I got this beauty recently, The Will of the Many by James Islington. It's book 1 of the Hierarchy series. I'm about 1/3 of the way through, 4th of the way through. Really good. I suggest it. I recommend it highly. check it out. And I'm doing a 50 book challenge for the year. So if you guys want to join me in that, read 50 books a
50
year.
books.
Yeah, 50 books for the year. It's about a book a week. We need to read more as a people. That said, if you like the stream, if you like the content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I have a link to Ahrelevant and SinglePlayerCarl's YouTube channels in my YouTube description. Please give them a subscribe and a follow because they have, again, spent their time with us and to give us content. So give them a subscribe. It was really helpful. What we got coming up tomorrow, we're going to be talking about Somali fraud. We're going to have Andrew Mercado. We're going to have Dev. We're going to have Lactoid. We're going to have Ash of Certainty, right? And it's going to be great. Check us out. On Wednesday, I'm going on a Gibbs panel. That'll be something. And that's what we got coming up. So check us out, gang. I love you all. Wave, who's streaming right now? Is Ahrelevant still streaming? We're in Ahrelevant. But wave, bye everyone.
All right, good night, Wick. Thanks
good
for
luck on
having
that
me.
panel tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be great. But yeah.
Have fun, fraud.
I hope everyone has a wonderful, beautiful day. Goodbye.